Snack wrap with small fries and small fountain drink. All for just $5. Plus tax. Canadian
Jarvis. Yeah.
Winter Legacy heating and cooling is practically there already. Yeah, we're working in your.
What up, Jarvis? Yeah.
Drop again, he's steals. He's in. Drop, celebrating, scores.
With no payments and no interest for 1 year, you gotta call Legacy. Replacing your dying furnace before it's too late, that's how you build your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
To take off again, he steals. He's in. Drop, celebrating.
25 years of building tools so good, they practically torque themselves. Hard work and innovation problem solved. For the latest designs at cantork.com.
Measles outbreaks are occurring in Canada, including Alberta.
On Sports 1440.
Presented by Measles is an extremely contagious disease that is spread easily through the air. The best way to protect yourself, your family, and your community is to ensure don't get measles. To find out if you're up to date and what to do if you're not. A message from the state of Alberta.
The place to cheer for Canada loud and proud is Selly's Sports Bar and Lounge. The ultimate sports bar to watch the ultimate winter events. Not a bad seat in the house, tons of big screens, and a first place menu with something for everyone. Small bites, big bites, game night food and drink features. Cheer on Canada's team at Selly's. At all 3 Century Casino locations, Edmonton, St. Albert, and Century Mile.
Every day is game day at Century Casino.
The Jason Gregor Show.
Trying to take off again, he steals. He's in. Drop, celebrating, scores.
On Sports 1440.
Yeah.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Mitch Marner through to the net. Scores! Mitch Marner. Team Canada headed to the semis. Wednesday. How are ya? Probably breathing a little easier than you were a few hours ago. Welcome to the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where 100% of the revenue stays right here in the province at PlayAlberta.ca. Of course, you've got lots of things you can get up for tonight, of course. Hey, nobody won last night in Lotto Max, so it's 60 mil on Friday, and tonight's 32 million in Lotto 649. So good luck at PlayAlberta.ca. And we got lots to discuss on the show. What a day for hockey. If you're watching, of course, you had the early game that saw Germany really kind of get dominated a little bit by Slovakia 6-2. Then you had Canada taking on Czechia. And what a wild game. Like, wild. That, you know what? The second period, for long stretches, Canada dominated. They had some chances, couldn't score. And then, it's 2-2. It's tie game. You're going to the third. You're thinking, okay, Canada's got some momentum. Even though Sidney Crosby had left the game with an injury, we're not sure he's going to be able to play in the semis. We'll find out. And Canada's swarming. Harley gets his point shot. It's blocked. They go down the other way, score. Now, nobody in the moment caught the fact that Czechia had 6 skaters on the ice. And not for like 1 or 2 seconds. They had 6 skaters on the ice the whole time in their defensive zone. No one caught it. No one. The broadcast didn't catch it. And I don't know if Canada's bench caught it, because you would have thought that they would have been going to the referee. What are you doing? They had 6 guys on the ice. No one said anything until after the game. I saw a few people posting it online. It's crazy. Now, Nick Suzuki, the depth guys hadn't done much through the first 55 minutes of that game. But Nick Suzuki had the shift of his life as a member of Team Canada, no question. goes in all alone, looking like he's kind of tired, was going to flip it and carried in. Then he wins a battle, beats Roenick for the puck, comes around, gets it back to the point, and then just a wicked deflection on a shot that was going wide from Taves, and suddenly it's tied. I can tell you, I don't cheer a lot, but that was one where I cheered, and the dog was sleeping on the couch, and I was watching downstairs. I don't know where you're at, but that was when I was like, yeah, and Suzuki ties it. Then you go to overtime. And I'm not a huge fan of 3-on-3 overtime for an Olympic gold medal. I don't love it. Or the potential, I should say, of a gold medal. Right? Because, hey, the Canada or Czechia, whatever won, now you're into the semis, right? So, yeah, you're in the running for a gold at that point. But you go to 3-on-3, and Binnington makes a huge stop. Canada had some okay chances, but after his big stop, they come down. Marner didn't look like anything special. And then the C's part, Marner goes in, great backhand, and scores. And Leafs Nation, torn. I would think at that point. But big come from behind win for Canada. And then it's followed up. I don't know if you were watching or maybe you were spent. You're like, I'm done. I can't watch hockey anymore. Finland was trailing 2-0 going into the third against Switzerland. They scored 2 goals in the final 6 minutes and 4 seconds and then won it in overtime as Lehkonen was the hero for them. So Canada will face Finland if the USA wins. But if Sweden wins, Canada will take on Sweden in the semis and Slovakia will play Finland. So currently, they just started the second period. Sweden and USA, no score. 0-0. Thus far. So we'll get into to all of that on the show. We got Oiler announcement. Paul Coffey's back. We're going to get into that. He's rejoining the coaching staff of the Edmonton Oilers. And but he's not going to be with the team until Friday, and they don't practice Friday, so really Saturday. So I got a lot of thoughts on this. It's a unique situation. I can't ever recall. The coach leaves. Now, I've seen coaches leave, for illness or whatever. They come back, but that wasn't the case here. Left the team, and it's kind of mutual agreement. Head coach, Paul Coffey. No, now Coffey was around, just so people know. It's not like he's still being around the team, actually on the road, talking to players, talking to coaches. Maybe him and Knobloch felt like, hey, you know what? Maybe this can work together, right? Maybe Knobloch recognized, geez, like Paul Coffey's different personality, not better, not worse. Just he's a little bit more vocal, he's a little bit more direct. The rest of the guys kind of quieter. Maybe they missed that, so we'll see. But we'll talk about that. Of course, Canada's got another bronze medal. And the women in short track speed skating, Saros got her 4th medal of the Olympics. I think it's kind of a no-brainer. She's going to be the flag bearer at the closing ceremonies, or at least she should be at this point. So we'll get into to all of that and more. It's a busy Wednesday edition. Man, there's lots going on right now in the world. I love it. Rupper's going to join us right away. John Collin will be by, Olympics curling analyst. That's good because Canada's right now in an extra end right now against Italy. Yaremchuk will be by, Ritch Winter, Business of Sport. How about the Islanders GM, Mathieu Darche, will join us. We got Speck. Also, we're going to hear from some of the Oilers today and more. So you can always get involved. You can text us 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Let's go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's, and Canada just won. Oh, I think. I got to measure this. We'll see. But let's go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's. And what you won't have to measure is your taste buds if you like Frank's Red Hot, because they got Frank's Red Hot now on the menu. Chicken, some of your other faves, chicken nuggets in the sauce. Try it out at McDonald's. As we are joined by former NHLer, Stanley Cup winner, ace analyst at the NHL Network, Mike Rupp joins us. Rupper, how you doing?
I'm good, Greg. How you doing, bud?
Oh, I'm all right. It's, it didn't start out great. Slovakia kind of dominated Germany. But man, the 2 games after that, give me your thoughts on, in the moment, did you notice that Czechia had 6 guys on the ice when they scored what at the time was their go-ahead goal?
So it's funny. I didn't notice that. I noticed that there was 4 forwards on the ice. Okay. So that was the bigger thing. I'm like, why is there 4 forwards? Did they go 4-1? I've never seen that. And then shortly thereafter, like, oh, there was 4 forwards on the ice because there was 6 players on the ice. So no, I didn't catch that right away.
Yeah. Well, nobody really, I didn't see anybody doing it until until after the fact, which is kind of wild. And you know what? I guess you look at it and say, hey, the hockey gods, everything worked out, because had Czechia won the game on that goal, there would have been like you can't appeal it. The game's over. It was clearly a missed call, but man, that'd have been a pretty egregious missed call.
That would have been insane. So I'm glad that was not the case. I still it was a heck of a battle there in that game by Czechia, but it was that would not have been the way for them to move on.
No, not at all. What'd you make of that game overall, Canada and Czech? Canada had a lot of chances. Czechia in the third period, I thought was pretty good, but I look Canada at times, Dostal played well, I thought, and Binnington came up with some huge saves, but I also didn't love him on some goals. Kind of a mixed bag with him. Yeah,
I mean, I thought Czechia was opportunistic in the game. Obviously, you're going to have to be. I mean, we knew what that game was going to have to look like if Czechia was going to win the game or have it be close like it was. Dostal was going to get tested, and he was going to have to make some saves. So I thought this was another great example, like you mentioned, Greg's, where Binner made the saves when he had to. And in those certain moments, even if that had one overtime, was it the overtime? Natchez got going in there on the semi breakaway, and you get that save. So it was they had some opportunities. I thought I was actually fairly impressed in that third period of some of the looks that Czechia was getting or creating. Just not enough of them, I think, over the course of the game. The better team did win ultimately, but man, it was a little too close for comfort.
Yeah. Nick Suzuki came up, massive goal for him. And then Mitch Marner, who scored a big goal in Four Nations, but this one was obviously much bigger for him, and great backhand shot. And now they move on. We don't know who they're going to take on, but you got the Sweden and the USA right now, 0-0, 25 minutes into that game, and no Victor Hedman for the Swedes because he's banged up.
Yeah, very weird though. I don't understand. I know there's been a lot of question marks with Team Sweden's coaching staff in some regards of how they manage certain things in this tournament. I mean, that goes back to that game one of one shift, I guess, for Phil Forsberg. Then there was Jesper Bratt out of the lineup, and then you have Dress. So I don't know. Maybe we learn more later on or over the course of this game. But you've got Victor Hedman dressed. You got Jesper Bratt dressed in this game. Neither getting a shift in the first period. So I don't know why. On a couple different levels, why that would be. The Jesper Bratt one is one where you're dressing him after he hasn't played the last two games. That would make me believe that he's going to get a chance to do something, I guess, but that didn't look like the case. So, a lot of head scratching, I think, around a lot of this. I think there's a concern clearly in Victor Hedman's health, but the fact that he would dress and not play a shift seems kind of weird.
Yeah. It is for sure. So maybe he just wants to, I don't know, you want to feel part of it, right? You sit on the bed. That's kind of weird too, because you got extra guys. Although I think that tells me Rasmus Anderson's hurt. Otherwise he'd be fine, right? So. Yeah. I mean, I guess maybe that's an area that you can lean into a little bit more, that it is Victor Hedman, how big and how important he is. So maybe it is to have his experience. I mean, let's not forget the cups that he's won and the experience he has. So maybe it is he's banged up. The other options potentially are banged up or aren't very good. It might be more valuable to you're not going short bench. You could dress enough players. So just having his presence there. But I don't know. It's going to be an interesting one to kind of hear why post game. Mike Grubb joins us here on Sports 1440. Of course, Canada moving on, as did Slovakia. And Slovakia, man, they got some young guys. It's been a pretty impressive tournament for them so far. Yeah, it's been great. I mean, you watch what they've been doing. It was just even hearing the Slavkovsky in the post game too, just talking about. I mean, you got to remember, this is what's really cool about some of these countries too, where like Slovakia, you're talking 5 million people. Smaller country in a lot of regards, where they're not considered to be one of the elite teams. Well, even at this point, I mean, they're not going to hang their hat on it, but they're in the semifinals. They're in the final four of the Olympics. That is impressive. And I don't think anybody had them is kind of ticketing them to do that in these Olympics. So, man, it's cool. Slavkovsky's been such a great story.
But just the way that they're playing, I mean, they earned that, I guess, bye, if you will, and yeah, they took care of business today. So it's fun to watch countries like that because we know how big this is in Canada. We know that it's always growing stateside, but some of these smaller countries, I mean, you go back to winning world championships for some of these countries or world juniors, like this is big time stuff. So I love seeing a country like Slovakia having some success.
Yeah, no, it is very good. You look at Team USA. What do you think of their first period?
I was all right. I mean, it was kind of, I thought it was kind of uneventful in some ways. I know you had a post there, a couple posts, I think, for Team USA, but I thought, Hellebuck wasn't overly tested. I think that probably the best shot was probably Lucas Raymond had a pretty good look. But I mean, it was just a kind of feel it out, felt like that period. I didn't feel like that was a dominant period by either team. Not a ton of great looks by either team. I thought the power play for Team USA looked a little off early on. But yeah, we'll see. I think that what's going to have to happen here as this game goes on is Sweden, if they can get on that power play, they're going to have to find a way to solve this US PK that's been perfect through the tournament. So, I mean, that's an area where you have a ton of talent. I think Sweden's PK has been pretty good. It's been like 25% or so in the Olympics, but I think that they're going to have to find their offense on their special teams.
I want to get your thoughts on the Oilers and Paul Coffey rejoining the coaching staff. Kind of a unique situation you don't see very often.
No, you don't. It's Paul Coffey, so there's a lot of value there, right? So, I just, without knowing everything, I know that there was they kind of went their own ways, and I heard you talking about it before I came on here, and I just think Paul Coffey, and I just think back 2 years ago. So the first finals that they're against the Panthers, I was ran into him, and Jason Demers and I were talking to him, and it was just, you can listen to him forever. You like the stories and the way he was shooting you straight, and just there's something about the greats, and hear me out here, because not all the greats have the way of speaking and getting this across. I think it's a skill in itself. Listen to Koff talk and just, oh yeah, I never thought about it that way. Or it just had this, it just almost felt like you just hearing this. It's all coming off of obvious experience, everything that he's experienced. I think there's a ton of value in that. There was a calmness in hearing him talk about the team and the decor and the things that he liked about certain players. And this is coming from, me just passing him down there in the hallway. It's I'm not even the way that he would work with the decor. And I think there's a lot of value in that. And I will say, I think we've seen the best Evan Bouchard with Paul Coffey working with the D. I think we've seen some defensemen who have, over the last couple of years, that aren't even there now, that have maybe overachieved under Paul Coffey. So yeah, whatever the reason is, I think it's probably a good one, and it'll be interesting to see what kind of results they can get on the back end.
Yeah, Bouchard's been pretty good this year. I think they're hoping maybe he can be the nurse whisperer, because he's the one guy whose game's got to get back on track here for Edmonton. He hasn't. I don't think he's had he had like, I think one maybe December was a good stretch for Nurse, but other than that, it's been way too up and down, I think, for his liking and probably for the team's liking as well. The other thing is, Rupper, since we spoke last, or like, hey, the LA Kings got Panarin, and now it's like, wow, now they don't have Fiala. It's like one in, one out for them, and they're 3 points out of the playoffs, so not out of it by any stretch of the imagination, but also they're not in, and they've got 20? I think they got 24 games remaining for them, so maybe they might have a few more. I got to double check. They might have 26, but either way, what do you think? Like, you can't just go out and find another Panarin. So do you think Ken Holland looks to try to replace Fiala, on maybe a lower level? Because obviously Panarin's an upgrade for him, but now you're almost kind of like one step forward, one step back with this trade, and then unfortunate injury.
Yeah, Kevin Fiala's he's got the ability to be a game breaker, and he can get hot and really run. But there's also stretches where he's not hot, and he can run kind of cool at times, and they're certainly going to miss him. I mean, I'm not trying to underplay that, but I think adding Panarin It's not a wash in that regard of like they're a much better team, I think, with Artemi Panarin in the lineup, regardless if Kevin Fiala is available or not, and he's not going to be. But yeah, to your question, I think they do something, and probably nothing. Like you said, you're not going to be able to go out and grab a Kevin Fiala like. There's just not, those guys aren't available. So I think they're going to have to add some sort of spark plug of some sort in the depth part of their lineup, because there's times where we see Fiala playing third line. Like he's not always on the top line or second line. Like they're kind of moving around. It's based off of kind of how he's playing. So I think that they could make a subtle move and maybe go and grab a middle six type winger that can really help this team out, because I think you're going to have, and I think you're going to see, Artemi Panarin makes players around him better, and he's just the way he facilitates and gets everybody going. I think that this team could still get in, but man, it is a huge kick in the teeth, because I think having a Fiala there, like it just gave you another weapon, and we'll see how LA and management navigate it.
Sidney Crosby left the game in the second period. Supposedly really had some positive words for his teammates, but didn't come back. And, Canada obviously has lots of depth, but, not only Crosby, but man, this could be a big blow to Penguins if he's out any extended period of time.
Yeah, what's weird to me though, Braggs, and this is completely reading between the lines, and I don't know what people are or even where it's at right now. I know that I think John Cooper post game said that they were getting some imaging on Crosby, but the fact that he spoke after the one period, to me, shows that he's out for the rest of this tournament. I would have to assume that. And it sounds like if Crosby was going to go speak to the team, it's probably something I think he's going to be missing some time here. So how that falls on the Penguins, yeah, I think it changes a lot. I think they forced Kyle Dubas's hand, the way they've played up to this point, to maybe address things a little bit differently than you originally probably planned on earlier in the season. But maybe not so much now. I mean, at the end of the day, if this is something of significance and Crosby's out, as good as this team has been, and no matter how much you believe in them or don't believe in them, they're not going to be able to get stuff done without Sid. So I think that this maybe paints that picture a little clearer. If Sid is out and is going to miss a chunk of time, I don't think you're going to see much adding happening here. And on the flip side, you've got this Anthony Mantha who's been unreal for them. And I don't know. I think Anthony Mantha is probably going to be looking for a contract bigger than what the Penguins are going to give him. Is that a movable piece that you can get some real return on? I mean, think of when they got Anthony Mantha and where the value was with him and this type of season that he has had. I think this is a movable piece for the Penguins, but it's tough because they're in a playoff spot. I don't know how much the fan base would love that.
They can't do it. I don't think. Like you're in a playoff spot. I just don't see how you could do it. You're 7-1-10 in your last 10 games. You're 1 point up on the Islanders. You do have 2 games in hand on the Islanders, and I know Columbus is 5 points back, but 5 points and with 26 games to go is actually more than I think a lot of us believe when you look at. And I know you did it on the Sabres when they went on their big run. Like it's hard to gain a ton of ground. So I can't see the Penguins. Honestly, if Crosby's, even if he's only out 2 weeks, let's say Rupper, which would, I guess, only be 1 week in the NHL because the season doesn't begin until next Wednesday. But, let's say if it was 2 weeks of NHL time, I wouldn't be stunned if Pittsburgh went out and added anyway, just because they're like, hey, we gotta make the playoffs here. We're here now. Because honestly, like their division, right? Okay, you're gonna, let's say you're not catching Carolina, but you're gonna be number 2 or number 3. So you're going to play the Islanders, you're going to play the Blue Jackets, you're going to play the Capitals, right? Those are the only teams you can play in the first round if you stay in your 2-3 slot. Well, you feel pretty confident that hey, we could win that series. And then who knows, maybe you can beat Carolina and suddenly you've won 2 series and I'm not even sure the management thought that they were going to win 2 series or even make the playoffs, never mind when the season started.
Yeah, no, that's very fair. And that's something where you sit there and you look at the way this season is shaped up to this point, where if you're going through the Metro, like that's very doable at that 2-3 spot. So I agree. I think it's all going to be contingent on the Sidney Crosby news. If Sidney Crosby is, I hope it's not, but if it's something that looks like he might be done for the season or for a good portion of the remaining games, I don't think you're doing too much. If it's something where it's 2 weeks, maybe even let it, all right, let's see what we got here, and you don't do something. But knowing you have Sid makes all this make a lot more sense, where we can win a round, A, make the playoffs, B, win a round and see what happens there and get that experience. But if it's Sidney Crosby out for much more than that, I think you just you run its course with the group you got here. And, I don't think you do too much. I don't think you're going to trade away futures here to help this team out right now.
Rupper, I know you're on the edge of your seat, but Dylan Larkin has made it 1-0 for
There we go.
For the
I
Americans.
did not see that.
Right.
Was it a nice one?
Just a deflection stick in front of the net, Rupper. Just
Right.
deflected it, turned the stick over, and went upstairs a little bit. So
There we go.
minutes ago, and they are leading now 1-0. And the final that many people want still has a chance. Canada versus U.S. It was a little tight for Canada. And hey, the game's far from over. It's been comebacks. Like, you're not safe now. It's been a comeback day the last two games today. And if it gets to overtime, who knows what happens? I will say, not a huge fan of 3-on-3 in overtime.
No.
I get why they do it in the Olympics, because they can't handle the game's just, the schedule's not set up in a quarterfinals. You got all these other games in the same rink, right? It's different than NHL hockey, where you've got one game in that rink that night. You want to play 6 periods, you play 6 periods. So
Yeah.
I get why they do it. And that's just, it is kind of the current rules. So that's what they do. And, it's 10 minutes instead of 5. And obviously both games were solved in overtime, so we didn't have to get to a shootout. And hey, we've seen shootouts before in the Olympics, so whatever. But it's even for every team, and we'll see what happens. There's still a chance for Sunday morning, Canada-US.
Yes. Set your alarms. Set your alarms. Going to be an early morning, especially for you guys out Pacific time there.
6:10 in the morning. Just a young Jason Gregor would just stay up all night Saturday night, but no chance that I'm doing that now.
It's going to be good though, man. We can only hope for that U.S.-Canada final, and hopefully U.S. can keep this thing moving in this game.
Awesome. Okay, Rupper, we'll chat with you on the rundown on Friday. Have a good one.
Awesome, buddy. Enjoy.
There you go. That's Mike Rupp from the NHL Network. And yes, indeed, USA has scored. Also, though, better news. Another gold medal. Stephen Dubois has won the men's 500-meter final today. That is his 5th Olympic medal in his career. And you know what? You look at Canadians to win a medal in an individual speed skating event. Of course, he goes back to Dubois. You had Ted-Jan Bloemen, Samuel Girard, Charles Hamlin, also Jeremy Wotherspoon, of course, Gaetan Boucher, Mark Gagnon. So pretty awesome. And so congratulations, Stephen Dubois, another gold medal today for Canada. We'll take a quick break. We'll return on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Hey, Edmonton, did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on Mega Jackpots Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game sense.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Free trips, free iPads, a barbecue, a wood stove, the #1 dealer in the world. What? Who cares? How about no pressure, a great deal, finance rates as low as 0%, trade values you can be happy with, and an indoor showroom. And we're pretty good people. Stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
Hello. You're never going to believe this. Booster Juice called your name today. You can get a free smoothie or acai bowl.
No way. Heading there now.
Oh my gosh, you and my brother had the same name. Okay, I'm calling him next. I'm hanging up.
Booster Juice Names of the Day is back. 2 names are selected each day, and if your name matches, you can get a free smoothie or an acai bowl. Watch for your name on the Booster Rewards app and social media. Must be an app member to qualify. Booster Juice, Canadian born, blending since 1999.
Sometimes you think about what you're going to do in the day. Go to work, pick up the kids from school, make supper. But at GS Construction, we think a little differently. Winter is our season to think, to plan, and to improve. We study, we innovate, we train. So when the thaw comes, we're ready to dig, build, and deliver even better, which means we need people like you. If you're thinking about joining the team at GS Construction, now's the time to do it. To apply and to see how we think, visit gsconstruction.ca. Get the lowdown with Low Tide. Weekdays from noon to 2 on Sports 1440. He's seen it all and then some. From stats to stories, he breaks it down like no one else. Proud to be Edmonton sports leader. Sports 1440.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need: Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
The Junior Prospects Hockey League's 4th season is underway. The JPHL offers elite athletic and academic opportunities across multiple AAA divisions. With over 55 teams, the JPHL is redefining the family experience by making elite hockey financially accessible. All games are broadcast live on Silent Ice TV, featuring a showcase-style schedule and competitive matchups. Learn why the JPHL is Western Canada's fastest-growing elite hockey development stream at juniorprospectshockeyleague.com.
Tonight we're right over.
Portions of this hour are brought to you by EUL. Get your power play amped up with EUL, supplying the City of Champions and Alberta with quality electrical gear since 1975. EUL.ca is your partner in power.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Two 30. Jason Gregor, Connor Hanley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you're enjoying your wintry Wednesday. A little chilly. Geez, it's going to get pretty cold tomorrow, too. So buckle up. Then it should warm up after that. Some other news today in the NBA. 3-time All-Star center Domantas Sabonis is undergoing season-ending left knee surgery. So he is done for the year for Sacramento, for any of you NBA fantasy players. So there you go. Now, let's get to the oil report brought to you by Go Auto. Cars, trucks, vans, SUVs, man, you name it, they got it. They have over 15,000 vehicles to choose from. But more than that, they are heavily involved in their community, giving back a ton, giving back over $24 million to various charities over the years, helping out at goauto.ca. The Edmonton Oilers were back on the ice today. They made an off-ice announcement as Paul Coffey is rejoining the coaching staff. Now, it wasn't on the ice today, won't be on the ice tomorrow. Will join. He's going to be back Friday, but they're not, well, supposedly they weren't supposed to skate Friday, so he'll join the team, I would assume, on the ice on Saturday. He'll basically take over the role he had before on defense. We'll hear from some of the players, Evan Bouchard and others, talking about, like, the biggest thing Bouchard said was in game from Coffey. And not like, yes, obviously a little bit of these decisions, but more so just how he talked to players. And it was real big on, you know what, hey, mistakes going to happen. But if you make a mistake, you go right back out there. You try the same play because I can believe you can make it. And that was always the big thing. And I'm talking to Ekholm and Bouchard and all the other defensemen about it. That's really the one thing. Coffey's a little bit probably more vocal, more direct than Stewart or Knobloch. And this is a very unique situation. Let's make no mistake about it. Not something you see very often. It's kind of a mutual parting here. Paul Coffey, Chris Knobloch, weren't necessarily on the same page. That's accurate. That's completely fair. Now, it doesn't mean you hate someone just because you're on a different page than them. And Coffey was still around. The team obviously was an advisor to Daryl Cates and, saw the team at various points, still had conversations with the coaches. And so who knows? Maybe the conversation simply came down, and we'll get Knobloch on it too here, Connor, in a second, but that comes down to, hey, maybe Chris Knobloch's like, you know what? Because they didn't replace Coffey. Remember that. They did replace Gulletson with McDermott, but they did not replace McFarland, but they didn't replace Paul Coffey. Mark Stewart just kind of took over that role, running the defense and doing the penalty kill. And so you have a different personality on the bench. Things you see, right? Maybe someone to question you at a time, right? Because as the head coach, you do need your assistant coach to provide you with insight and also at times, a different viewpoint. And maybe they approach it differently. I don't know. So I'm interested by this. My thoughts on, coming back for a second tour duty, and I've talked about it for players over the years, so I'm not going to sit here and be offensive and suddenly change my mind. I'm not necessarily enamored by this. I wonder, what this means for Chris Knobloch, because if all of a sudden the Oilers come back and play really sound defensively, but remember, they were playing sound defensively for 25 games in a row. We outlined it. From December 1st right through until almost the end of January, they had the third best goals against average in the NHL. They were playing pretty well. And then, the wheels fell off. The penalty kill was absolutely horrific in the final 5 games before the break. So it's not like they didn't play sound defensively, but if they come back and all of a sudden they're great. Now, there's 2 things here. Sometimes the best decision we can make is you right or wrong. If Chris Knobloch's like, you know what? Maybe it's the wrong decision to not have Coffey. So I'm going to call him up and say, hey, maybe I need you. Now, I'm not saying that happened. I don't know if that happened yet. But, because here's the options. 1, the owner said to do it. And I've been told that wasn't the case. So then it comes down to, Coffey, special advisor, you say, hey, does he call Chris Knobloch? Okay, I think I can help. Or does Chris Knobloch call him? Who is the initiator of the conversation? Because someone had to be. Right? Anytime you're getting back together, some of you have probably broken up. Somebody's got to be like, oh, I miss you. Oh, geez, maybe I miss you too. And, I know this is it's not a romantic relationship, but it's still a working relationship, and you got to be on the same page. So Paul Coffey's back, and we'll see. I know I've seen some people, oh, it's really going to help Evan Bouchard. I don't think Evan Bouchard has been bad at all for Edmonton. So I don't buy that one. I think 2 guys, Wallman off of injury, factor. Nurse, I think that's the guy who maybe, some coaches, just like in life, you've had teachers, you have different teachers, you have a good teacher, and then some teacher, just for whatever reason, you connect with better. It doesn't mean they're a better teacher, but they connect with you personally better. And I think they got to hope that Paul Coffey can be that guy, right? I still think that Daryl Cates have, a part of this conversation. I would think so, but I don't know if can Daryl Cates say you have to do it? I guess in theory, but I don't know if he's going to do that. That would seem odd, but hey, owners in sports make odd decisions. So we'll find out. I'll admit that I'm a little skeptical of this, working out great. Maybe I'm wrong. Where do you come out on it, Connor?
I mean, it does kind of seem like it's a little bit desperate. Like, oh, what can we do to change things up here? And what can we do to try to provide that? At the same time, though, the results were there with Paul Coffey. And when he speaks, you have to listen. He's one of the greatest defensemen to ever play the game. We'd long heard about the confidence that he could install in players by going back and showing them, hey, you can make these plays. You can do these sorts of things. So I am interested to see, what kind of impact it might have on a Stastny or, the younger defenseman, kind of maybe for the first time getting a chance to really hear his message and learn from him. But when you hear about it and the way things ended and all that sort of thing, it does kind of seem like it's a desperation move to me.
Yeah. And I don't know if I'm going to go as far as desperation. I think it's one where they look and say, hey, something has to change. So what are our options here? And, obviously they've worked with Paul Coffey before, and, they probably felt like there was no one available who was better. And So away they go. Like Paul Coffey, obviously, the defenseman who worked with him, they raved about him. So we'll see. I'm curious kind of to see what the audience thinks. I know the initial, hey, Paul Coffey's going to save everything. And I don't know if it's that easy. Keep in mind, first 26 games, first 2 months of the year, the Oilers were horrible defensively, awful. But then they turned it around. And from December 1st up until almost the end of January, they're pretty good. Then, their penalty kill just fell apart in the last 5 games, just atrocious. So, and that's more Mark Stewart, right? He oversees the penalty kill as he did last year. Hey, guys, what does this coaching decision say about management? Did the owner force this? This does not look good. See the Canucks from Smoky Lake. It's fair to look at it and wonder, like, what's going on here? Who's making the decisions? Now, I will say this. Management, the coach, like most GMs I've ever talked to say, they try not to get involved in the coaching staff too much. Because if you force your coach to take someone on a staff and then that person doesn't pan out, it's kind of hard for you to look at the head coach and say, well, I got to fire you. And he's like, yeah, but you gave me this guy. He's not any good, right? So usually they'd like to, in theory, there's more responsibility. And if the coach says, okay, I'm picking Bob and I'm picking Declan, I'm picking Connor as my assistants, and it doesn't pan out, you can't look and say, well, yeah, those guys weren't good. Yeah, but you picked them, right? Like the buck stops with you. So I don't think it would be great. I don't know. I'm going to come on here and say for certain. It would be odd for me based on all years of experience. Doesn't mean it can happen that a GM would force this, because forcing people to work together, if they don't really want to work together, it's not great. So we'll see kind of where it goes. But Paul Coffey he'll be back on Friday. And if the order schedule, maybe it changes, but originally they were planning on skating today and Thursday. Then they had Friday off, and then they would skate Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then jet out to Anaheim where they take on the Ducks next Wednesday. We will take a quick break. And there's one of the bigger controversies. I don't even know how big it was, to be honest, because if you try to rationalize it, I think if you look at it from common sense, and sometimes online common sense isn't always there, but we'll talk to something that's being a controversy. It's a little bit of a joke if you know Jimmy Fallon, but about the Olympics coming up next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
60 years ago, we started selling trucks as Western GMC Buick. Today, we are Wolf GMC Buick. We're still located on the corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road with the same ownership for over 2 decades. Our customers have trusted our family-owned, community-driven business, and for that, we are thankful. If you're looking for a truck or SUV, pop in and one of our seasoned professionals will get you a great deal, hassle-free. Come trust our team at Wolf GMC Buick. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Welcome, gentlemen, to the nerve center of game-watching greatness, my sanctuary, my Bro Zone.
Whoa, giant screen, comfy chairs. You've thought of everything.
Almost everything. Where are the snacks? We can't cheer on Canada without the proper fuel.
Way ahead of you. Wilhauk Beef Jerky, the official snack of the Bro Zone.
For a truly Canadian snack to cheer on our truly Canadian athletes, you need Wilhauk Beef Jerky, made with Alberta pride, right here in Leduc.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection? Incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Shoulder pain. It can make even the simplest things like reaching up, lifting a bag, brushing your teeth, or sleeping frustrating. Rotator cuff strains, impingement, arthritis, they're some of the most common issues we treat every day. I'm Grant Fedoruk, and at Leading Edge Physio, our team brings postgraduate training, evidence-based technology, and just the right amount of humor and humility to help you feel better. Because we never forget the most important part, the gratitude we feel for every patient who allows us the opportunity to care for them. Because life shouldn't hurt. When it does, leadingedgephysio.com.
You see it? Fusion Promo Marketing can make it. Fusion makes high-quality, memorable promotional products for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. From vision to reality, get noticed and remembered. Fusion with a Z. Promomarketing.ca.
Hello. You're never going to believe this. Booster Juice called your name today. You can get a free smoothie or acai bowl.
No way. And they're now.
Oh my gosh, you and my brother had the same name. Okay, I'm calling him next. I'm hanging up.
Booster Juice Names of the Day is back. 2 names are selected each day, and if your name matches, you can get a free smoothie or an acai bowl. Watch for your name on the Booster Rewards app and social media. Must be an app member to qualify. Booster Juice, Canadian-born, blending since 1999.
Do you sit around at work listening to sports radio all day? That's right, my friend. There's no shame in it. It's the good life. And we're not here to snitch. Say, if your company advertised on Sports 1440, you could be the one listening for your company's ad every day. Now you've got an excuse to listen to Sports 1440 all day. It's part of the job. Sounds like someone's getting a promotion. Email Gregor at sports1440.ca and let's get to work for you. Top quality flooring, locally owned, and Canadian products from Beaulieu. Yeah, that's CFI.
CFI what?
No, CFI, Custom Floors Inc.
From free estimate to professional installation, contact Custom Floors Inc. at customfloorsinc.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Sherbrooke Liquor, the best place for wine, cocktails, and beers from all over the world. Also a variety of excellent and non-alcoholic options. See more at sherbrooke.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.245 on a lovely Wednesday afternoon. Jason Gregor, Connor Alley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. Also live on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching the show. Hope you are having an awesome Wednesday. Of course, if you're a Canadian fan, you probably are. Team Canada comes back in exciting fashion in overtime. Mitch Marner, the hero, as they beat Czechia 4-3, and now move on to face either Sweden if they upset the USA. Right now, USA is leading 1-0 after 40 minutes. Or if the US holds their lead, then it's going to be USA versus Slovakia, Canada versus Finland. Both games will go on Friday. Now let's get to our curling report, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home of the no payments, no interest for 1 year on your furnace. Stay warm all winter at legacyheating.ca. CBC Olympic curling analyst John Cullen joins us. And John, another big win by the women today, pretty much another must-win situation. They made it pretty hard on themselves, giving up 3 in the 10th before winning in an extra. And winning just by the, like perfect draw weight, really, and a lot of sweeping to get in for a Holman's rink to improve to 5-3.
Yeah, you're telling me that was scary, especially because it seemed like anyway the ice had changed in this game. If you were watching the whole game, it just seemed like it was tricky for both teams, for both Canada and Italy. And so usually when the ice is maybe a little tricky or a little different than what they were expecting, you don't really want to have to draw to the forefoot for the win. You're a little bit scared. And as we saw, the sweepers kind of thought it was heavy, and then last minute coming down, they kind of had to pound it to get it there, got it by a couple inches. And yeah, Rachel Homan's still alive, but it was, today was a little scary for sure.
Yeah, but hey, win's the win, man. Doesn't matter how you get them, as long as you get them. I know you've been covering curling for a long time, and the Mark Kennedy, I thought I got way blown out of proportion. I'm sure you've seen it. Now, like his finger touching the rock, like somehow that's going to change the direction or change anything. And I know they say by theory, if you're touching the rock over the hog line, well, that's a hog line violation. So my question is not so much that it impacted the throw, but the fact that if your finger's touching it, should that in theory have been an illegal throw?
In theory, yes. I think when you see the video, it does look like his finger is making contact with the rock at the hog line. So yes, that should be a hog line violation. However, the way that the hog line violations are being called at the Olympics is through sensors. So you may notice if you're watching curling, the handle of the stone is silver and then the top of the rock where the handle screws into the rock is either red or yellow. So that part is silver because it's a sensor. So what it does is it detects whether you're touching the rock or not when you get to the hog line. And if you are, then there's lights on top of the rock that will flash red. And then the sweepers know to pull it off immediately when that happens. And so that was kind of the argument was, in this case, you can't necessarily tell that it's a hog line violation. You would need to have someone standing there because the sensors are not in the granite. And so that is why we ended up having all of this consternation. And at the time, to be honest, Jason, the rule wasn't super clear whether you could touch the granite or not. So now that they have come out, they amended the rule that maybe wasn't super clear, and they specifically said you cannot touch the granite. Yes, that would be a violation, but there would have to be an umpire standing there to make that call.
Okay. You look at the ice, and you mentioned, and I've heard that a lot of the curlers talk, but now it is fair for everybody, but it has been kind of inconsistent. Any idea why it's changing as the games go on?
There's a couple factors usually with that. So the first one would be just simply there's been a lot of curling played on this ice, right? So as we saw, like the mixed doubles tournament started before the Olympics even started. The mixed doubles tournament got underway on February 4th. We are now at February 18th. We have seen 3 draws a day every single day since then. So it's just hard to maintain ice that's being played on so often. And this is rare, right? Like the Brier, the Scotties, the World Championships, you're maybe keeping the ice for 10 days. You're not keeping it for almost 20. So that's that's number one factor. Number two factor would be the weather outside. So typically, if there's a little bit more humidity in the air, if there's some temperature fluctuation, that can also affect the ice. I haven't been paying attention to the Cortina weather patterns, but that is also part of my guess. And then there's been some inconsistency with number of fans in the building. So draws where Italy is not playing for the men or the women, there tends to be less fans there. So when the building is full compared to when the building is not full, the ice makers kind of have to make adjustments based on that. So those are all factors that can go into it. But I think the big one, Jason, is simply that they've been playing on it for a long time, and it's just very difficult to maintain championship level ice for that long.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. Overall, like Homan's team hasn't been as dominant as we've seen them for basically the last few years so far in this tournament. Any idea why?
That's the $1 million question. If they miss the playoffs, so they're in a situation now where they play Korea tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Mountain Time, and if they win, they're in, and if they lose, they're out. They were kind of in a situation where maybe if they had beat Italy and lost to Korea like yesterday, you might have thought, okay, they might still be able to sneak in. But now that Denmark has finished at 4-5, and the U.S. and Great Britain could still finish at 5-4, Canada would be out with a loss. So it's not somewhere we would have expected them to be when the week started. I think there's a couple things. I think, first of all, the Olympics have been a bugaboo for Rachel, right? She made the last 2 Olympics, missed the playoffs both times. Hard to not have that affect you mentally. And then you just add the pressure of the, Olympics in all capital letters on top of that. Like the world number 1 on the men's side, Bruce Mallett of Great Britain, he's also in danger of missing the playoffs, depending on how the results break in the men's game tomorrow. So it's not just a Rachel Homan thing. Yes, I think before the event started, they were the gold medal favorite, but the Olympics does some strange things to people, man. And the one thing, I think, if you're Canada, they've won 4 in a row now, and they've looked pretty good doing it. They've looked pretty confident. So, and Rachel in particular has been playing better. So I think that's the thing you'd latch on to. Maybe they started a little slow, but they have looked like they've been playing a lot better over the last few games.
So if there were multiple teams at 5-4, she wouldn't know any of the tiebreakers?
No, unfortunately not, because the only teams she can go head-to-head with at 5-4 right now are the U.S. and or Great Britain, and she lost to both of those teams. So they would automatically have the head-to-head over her, unfortunately.
Now, and so is there a chance, because USA, Great Britain, and Canada, if all 3 would, well, I guess, they lost to both, so then it wouldn't really matter. There's no difference.
Exactly, because Korea would be 6-3, so they get in, and then you'd have that 3-way tie at 5-4.
Yeah, and if Canada wins, then obviously Korea can't catch them because they'd be 5-4, and Great Britain can't catch them either. So win and you're in, lose and they go home. So how do you handicap them against South Korea going into that game?
South Korea is a team that has given them some problems. Team Eunji Kim, they beat them at the Worlds last year. Overall, Rachel has a pretty sizable advantage over her. She wins 80 to 85% of the time that she plays Kim if you look at their head-to-head records against each other. But that's also true of Rachel Homan against just about everybody. I mean, she lost to the USA and Great Britain and also has dominant records over them too. I would say I haven't been impressed with the South Korean team this event. Their third, Minji Kim, I think is one of the best players in the world, and I think she's kind of holding that team together. Eunji herself is near the bottom of the skip statistics for the week. So again, it's a situation I think you're favoring Rachel Homan going in. I'm not a betting man. I haven't seen the odds, but I would guess Rachel's a minus 300, minus 350 type favorite in that game. But again, almost lost to Italy today, and Italy's at the bottom of the pack, and we saw them lose to Great Britain and USA earlier. So anything can happen. It has been one of those Olympics so far, but yeah, I think if you're a Canadian fan, you'll like their chances to win and get in.
Overall, the on the men's side, you meant like you look at the women's is pretty close. There's lots of teams in the mix. On the men's side, you've got Switzerland's 8-0. Canada is now Brad Jacobs is 7-1. Then there's a little bit of a gap. Do you feel Switzerland and Canada are the clear favorites right now?
Based on the way they've played this week, yes. However, as I said, that world number one, Bruce Mowat, he is just kind of lingering there, Jason. And we have seen teams come through the field at 5-4 and win. Great Britain did it last Olympics for the women. They were 5-4 coming through the round robin. They squeaked in a tiebreaker, and then they won the gold medal. And I would say, yeah, Bruce has been the best team in the world these last 4 years. He's the defending world champion. And if you're Canada, it's almost a little bit of deja vu because Brad was the class of the round robin at the Worlds last year, finished first. And Bruce had kind of not a great round robin at the Worlds last year, and he ended up in fourth. So Brad Jacobs got that 1 versus 4 matchup against the world number one and lost it and found himself in a bronze medal game. And that could happen here again. Bruce, even at 5-4, could still finish third, depending on how all the other results break out. So they are, to answer your question, yes, absolutely. They have been clearly the two best teams in the field this week, but it's a classic. It's a single elimination playoffs. These good teams get into the playoffs, and it's easily foreseeable that you could lose that semifinal to a great team.
Well, I'm looking at Great Britain. So they've lost. So Norway has the tiebreaker over them. And I'm trying to find who won between Italy and Great Britain. Because in theory, if Italy won that game, if Canada and Switzerland were just like, you know what, we don't want to deal with Great Britain, they could lose their 2 games tomorrow.
Correct.
They're playing Norway and Italy, and just then Great Britain would be out.
That is definitely something I'm sure is crossing their mind. I'm sure they wouldn't actually do it. I mean, this is the Olympics. That's obviously not in the spirit of fair play, but does it kind of cross the back of your mind, a little handshake deal? Hey, guess what? We could make sure Mowat doesn't make the playoffs if we win both of these games. I'm sure it's crossing their mind, but I think both of those teams are really momentum-based teams. I don't think they would want to lose, even if it's, a little bit of, we're already in, we're maybe not trying our best. I think both teams will want to keep the momentum going with how well they're playing. I think they would both feel like they could beat Bruce Mowat right now, but yeah, I think you'd be lying if you said it doesn't cross your mind in the Olympic Village when you close your eyes tonight.
Well, Bruce, always good to catch up with you. Enjoy the Olympics and enjoy the playoffs. And hopefully Rachel Homan gets a big win tomorrow, and we'll be moving on to the playoff round.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Jason. Appreciate you having me.
There you go. That's John Collin joining us. I think I called him Bruce there for a second. We were talking about Bruce, the skip, but obviously it's John Collin joining us, talking some curling. Of course, John's a CBC Olympic curling analyst. Coming up, we will have we got our stat of the day. We've got Tyler Remchuk at Business of Sport today. We're going to have Ritch Winter and also a special guest, the GM of the Islanders, Mathieu Darche. Quite the career path for him. So we'll get into that. We got Spec coming up. We're also going to hear from Chris Knobloch on Paul Coffey and more. But first, let's get to the con man and a sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. When they say they're on the road together, they mean it. From tires, wheels, and oil changes to vehicle repairs. Visit fountaintire.com. Find out more.
This is a sports 1440 update.
Over at the Winter Games men's ice hockey, Canada battled back to beat Czechia 4-3 in overtime. Mitch scoring the winner to carry Canada into the semifinals. Tough news for Sidney Crosby. He left the game in the second period, did not return with a lower body injury. Other quarterfinal action had Finland beating the Swiss 3-2 in overtime. Slovakia beating up on Germany 6-2. Right now, Sweden trails the States 1-0. 18 minutes left in the third period. Medal-wise, Canada picked up a gold in the men's 500-meter short track. Steve Dubois. Canada also winning a bronze in the women's 3,000 speed skating relay. In curling, Rachel Homan's ranked snuck past Italy 8-7, while the men beat Italy 8-3 over here. The Edmonton Oilers announced that Paul Coffey will return to the team's coaching staff. The team added that Coffey is expected back this Friday as the team continues preparation to return to action next week following the Olympic break. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll get to the stat of the day, ask 5 questions, and be joined by Tyler Yaremchuk from Oilers Nation. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Free trips, free iPads, a barbecue, a wood stove, the #1 dealer in the world. What? Who cares? How about no pressure, a great deal, finance rates as low as 0%, great values you can be happy with, and an indoor showroom. And we're pretty good people. Stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
And here comes Action Electrical Service Team sprinting onto the scene. These are your first responders for any electrical emergency.
That's right. With their fleet of service vans and specialized gear, they assess, they service, and maintain electrical lighting and automation systems. They're all about rapid response.
Quick diagnostics and repairs to restore power and safety fast. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Looking for the perfect gift? Give the gift of great taste with a Loca Quality Market gift card. Redeemable at any Loca Quality Market or Loca operated restaurant. It's a treat for food lovers. Ready anytime. Grab yours today at loca.ca.
Big guests, bigger takes. Jason Gregor brings the names you know and the stories you don't. Weekdays 2 to 6 on Sports 1440. Don't miss a minute of the action on Edmonton Sports Leader. Sports 1440.
Oodle Noodle origin. In 1864, Francis Oodle took over his dying father's business as a leatherman. He was quite proficient, but his heart was never truly in the trade. After his father's death, Oodle met a cocksure young man named Vladimir Nudel, who was a trailblazer in the popular new art of food boxes. They formed a partnership and aimed to ply their trade in the New World. At Ellis Island, Nudel was renamed David Noodle, and henceforth, the franchise has been known as Oodle Noodle.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer
Probably
right for
breathing
you
a little
online
easy.
or
How
at
are
one
you?
of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
1 in 3 adults don't get enough sleep.
Connor
The
Halley,
Brick is here to
Sports
help
1440,
with deals on your
Sports
entire
1440.
bedroom. Save up to 50% off clearance mattresses, 50% off beds when you buy any 3 matching pieces. Buy one, get one half price on ceiling memory foam pillows, and save $100 off any adjustable
Late
power base when you buy a mattress over
afternoon, just
$9.99. Plus, check out other incredible savings in every department.
Find out more.
Some exclusions apply. Check out the Brick in South Common, West Ed Mall, North Side, and downtown.
At Hughes, it's all about getting in and out quick and clean. No cash, no problem. With Hughes' new tap and wash system, all you need is your debit or credit card to get your vehicle sparkling clean.
Find us at hughescarwash.com.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, There's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection? Incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
I don't mind.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows, locally manufactured and installed. Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all of your residential needs. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by playalberta.ca.
Just after 3 o'clock, we roll through. Man, there's lots going on. Who doesn't love the Olympics? Welcome back to the Gregor Show, presented by playalberta.ca. Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where 100% of the revenue stays right here in the province at playalberta.ca. And another few medals today for Canada, another gold in 500-meter short track. If you're looking for entertainment, man, that 500-meter race is just chaos. It is fun to watch. And Stephen Dubois wins gold. So that's 4 golds for Canada. They are now up to 14 medals overall, which has them 10th in the overall medal count. And if you go by gold medals, then they are in 11th with 4 and would be tied for 7th if they can win another one here. And they got a few options before this, but there's obviously, what do we got here? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 4 days left, Sunday. So I don't think there's any more medals tonight. So yeah, we got 4 days left to get some other medals. And Canada has a few other spots that I think that they could medal in. So we'll get to that. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Lots get into, of course, the Olympics. If you missed the news for the Edmonton Oilers, and we'll get to that, Paul Coffey is back on the coaching staff, and people are wondering, what happened here. Just made another phone call. Been talking to a few people today and some text messages. There's a few things at play here. If Edmonton doesn't just fall apart in the last few weeks defensively, I'm not sold that this move is made. Does Leon's comments when he's, he includes the coaches that, hey, we got to be better. Is that something? I don't think you can overlook that. I think there's a lot of pieces here. There's a lot of moving parts. You can't overlook the fact that, their goals against here in the last 8 games is one of the worst in the league. Like, their penalty kill for the last 5 games has just been horrific. 35%. Like, come on. Right? So, what's that mean? Mark Stewart's running your defense and your penalty kill. And you never replaced Paul Coffey. So you could have went out and got someone else, or maybe Chris Knobloch's like, hey, I know this guy. And while we've had disagreements at times, there's lots of things we agree on. They still had success, made it to 2 Stanley Cup finals. So it's a unique situation. I'm not going to lie. I can't recall, definitely nothing like this with the Oilers that I can recall off the top of my head. Guys have, where you leave, guys have left because of health reasons, and that wasn't the case. Solely. It was one where, hey, have some disagreements. Okay, Paul Coffey. Now he stayed in the organization, and it's not like they hate each other. Like, I can tell you, I have disagreements all the time with guys. Stoff and I disagree lots on the air, and then we chat about it later. Like, you can disagree and then agree on different things. So, you look at Coffey and Knobloch, and Paul Coffey is a very fiery guy, and he's not afraid to voice his opinion on things. And But that doesn't mean that you can't. And how many guys listening, you've had arguments with maybe some of your best friends, and sometimes it gets heated. Hell, I know friends that end up getting in fights, for goodness sakes, over it. And then you're still buddies. So it'll happen. And maybe that's the case here. We'll have to see. But I think this has to do a lot with kind of what's gone on leading up to the Olympic break for this team. They were rolling pretty good. And then it wasn't like they just lost 1 or 2 games. They went into a tailspin and suddenly became one of the worst defense teams in the league. And you got to believe that played a part in it. I can't think that it was just like, oh, they've been planning this the whole time. And this was, you know what? Paul's going to join us after the Olympics. I don't think that was the case at all. I think this is based on what's gone wrong. How do you get out of it? And the fact that the Oilers, if you look at the standings, it's not like they're, sitting pretty. Yeah, they have 64 points and they are in second place in the Pacific. But Seattle's 1 point back with 2 games in hand. Anaheim, 1 point back with 2 games in hand. LA, 4 points back, and they're in 9th place with 2 games in hand. Now, Edmonton's points percentage would still have them in the playoffs, but it would have them as the second wildcard spot, not the second in the Pacific. Now, that can change with Edmonton winning 1 game and, Seattle losing a game. So I get it. But the point is, they're not in this wonderfully safe, easy position where you can just be like, we're okay. We'll guaranteed get back on track, right? Because they could, as I mentioned, from December 1st on until late January, you're like, hey, this other team's figured it out. They've lowered their goals against average again, right? Their top guys were scoring. Man, we still didn't have a lot of production from their bottom 6, but whatever. They were limiting goals and they were scoring a fair amount. So things were good. But then the wheels fell off here for 10 days. And I think that played a part in it. So here's Chris Knobloch as we go in the room, brought to you by Action Electrical. Take action on your savings right now. If residential solar, they've completed over 300 residential solar installations. You can access the Clean Energy Improvement Program, which offers low interest financing. You can also get the solar payback periods will go about 6 to 8 years or even better, depending on your home, or you can do it at your commercial building, actionelectrical.net. And Chris Knobloch, first of all, speaking about bringing Paul Coffey back.
Well, I think he can offer a lot to our group. And right now, I think we need a little jolt, a little something to change the direction of where our team's been going. And I've got a lot of respect for Paul. My time working with him, I didn't know him before, but obviously I liked working with him and thought between the two of us and this coaching staff that we've had in the past that we've got the most out of the guys. And with him coming back, I think it'll give us that jolt, and I think he'll add some new perspectives. And, I've been talking to Paul throughout the season, throughout the summer, and, through stretches of good and bad throughout the year, and got his perspective on how he saw our team playing and what we need to improve on. And, I just think with, like I said before, where our team is at right now, we're just kind of just okay. And we feel that we need a little something to just push us over, give us a little something. And, I think Paul will add to that.
Well, there you go. So, you know what? Sometimes maybe you don't know what you have till it's gone. So I will admit I'm a bit surprised. But we'll see how it works out. They did have success in the past, and maybe they will be that duo that gets back together and it works out. We'll see. Also, he talked about was losing Gulletson and Coffey and a lot of their experience maybe too much at one time.
I have a lot of respect for both Gulletson and Paul Coffey, and I think they're great coaches. But I do have a lot of confidence in the guys that came in here. Mark Stewart is a great coach. I know the players have a lot of respect for him. Paul McFarland's been in the NHL. He's been coaching for a while, and yes, he is younger, but I'm not sure anybody knows the game as well as he does. The X's and O's and the communication he has with the players. So I just think it's you see teams get a little stale. Things aren't going as well as they have been. And we've had a couple long seasons, and we feel we got to change things up a little bit. And I think Paul coming in here will change things up a little bit and change it for the better.
And what does this mean then for Mark Stewart and the changes?
Obviously, it will change a little bit. Mark will not be running the defense, but like last year, Mark was involved with the defenseman. He was showing defenseman video among other players. So him and Paul communicating quite regularly about what they see with the defense and how they can be better with deep pairs, allotment and stuff like that. And obviously, Mark will still stay with the penalty kill. But just, I guess, what will change the most on Mark's role is just not running the bench.
So it won't basically line changes, matchups, stuff like that. So interesting, right? So it seems like, kind of like a demotion a little bit for Mark Stewart. Let's call a spade, right, Cons?
Sure seems like it. I don't know how you can really say it any other way when he's going to come in here, Paul Coffey, and take some of the responsibilities away from him. Who knows? Maybe Stewart welcomes that. Maybe a little over his head. Maybe, hard to say for sure. And I kind of feel like that second question. I'm glad that he pushed back a little bit, talking Knobloch. Like, no, well, we had confidence in our guys, but we just need that little push. We still believe we had what it takes. But yeah, I don't think you can look at it in any other fashion that it is a bit of a demotion for Mark Stewart.
Yeah, well, hey, call a spade, it is. And so we'll see. Just, is it a different voice? Is it a better voice? Time will tell. As mentioned, they had that stretch, and you just wonder, had they been able to keep that going, they probably don't make this decision. Right? Because from December 1st, if we're talking a month ago on January 18th, no one's concerned at that point about their defensive play. They've been one of the best defensive teams for the previous 7 weeks. But then so the question will be, was the 25 games a little bit of a misleader compared to the rest of the season? Because in the other 33 games, hasn't been great. First 26, not good. Next 25, solid. Last 7, terrible. They obviously felt like maybe that 25 games isn't the accurate portrayal of the team. Probably not as bad as the last 7, but maybe not as good as the previous 25. So there you have it. So that's the update on Paul Coffey as his return to the Edmonton Oilers. Evan Bouchard gives his thoughts on having Coffey back on the bench.
Yeah, I think it's familiar face, which is nice for everyone. Yeah, and we know we got to step it up in the second half of the season, so a little shake up. Maybe a good thing for us.
Why not? And for Bouchard personally, just how maybe Coffey, obviously both offensive defensemen, and how that helped him in the past.
Yeah, I think it's valuable for everyone. Like I said, he's been around for a while now, knows everyone on the back end. So I think it's it's helpful to bring him in rather than someone who doesn't really understand the dynamic.
And hey, sometimes it's if you're going to make a change, there's the devil the devil you don't know. And not calling Paul, I'm just making a statement there that you could have maybe felt like, hey, you know what, we never really replaced that spot on our staff, so we're going to bring it back. There's that takes a little bit of weight off of someone's shoulders. Maybe it's too much to ask someone to run the bench and run the whole penalty kill. And I got to look around the league and find out what the responsibilities are. I think some other D coaches do it for sure, but maybe that's a factor in it. So we shall see. The Oilers, they need to get their defensive game back on track, but it's not the only thing. Their depth scoring needs to get going, and that's where we are going to get to our. When I get to our stat of the day, we've got some numbers for you on some options for the Oilers' depth and what potentially could be at play there. So that's going to come up in a bit here. But let's get to a quick break, and then we got your Rimchuck 5 questions and our stat of the day here on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
There's a lot of great seasons in Alberta. Hockey season, harvest season, the winter season, and the even more winter season. But GS Construction is already preparing for our next great season because while the city slows down, we plan ahead. Projects, people, and pipelines. Everything starts taking shape for another strong year underground. We're also getting ready for our next hiring season in March. We want new people who want to build something that lasts. For more on us and to apply, visit gsconstruction.ca.
Need a new ride for road trips, errands, or just life on the go? Go Auto offers a massive selection with over 15,000 new and used vehicles to choose from. With over 70 locations across Western Canada, finding your next ride has never been easier. Whether it's a roomy SUV for the family, a sleek car for the open road, or a rugged truck for your weekend adventures, you'll find it here at a price you'll love. Explore thousands of vehicles today at goauto.ca.
Craving a dining experience that rises above the rest? Head to Summit Restaurant in the Silent Ice Center, just minutes from South Edmonton Common. Savor exceptional house-made pizza, delectable entrees, and expertly crafted cocktails in a stylish, modern atmosphere. Perfect for a casual meal or a special night out. Summit offers a refined experience where every bite and sip reflects our dedication to quality. Elevate your dining experience. Make Summit Restaurant your destination tonight.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
McValue meals are here. Get the McD's you love for $5 plus tax every day with your choice of a McDouble, junior chicken, or chicken snack wrap with small fries and small fountain drink. All for just $5 plus taxes. Canadian restaurants. Product availability varies. Prices exclude delivery.
Actions speak louder than words. Japa Machinery Group puts your construction plan into action with XCMG construction machinery you need. Available for rental or sale. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
1 in 3 adults don't get enough sleep. The Brick is here to help with deals on your entire bedroom. Save up to 50% off clearance mattresses, 50% off beds when you buy any 3 matching pieces. Buy one, get one half price on Sealy memory foam pillows, and save $100 off any adjustable power base when you buy a mattress over $9.99. Plus, check out other incredible savings in every department. Some exclusions apply. Check out the Brick at South Common, West Edmonton Mall, North Side, and downtown.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Get the Gregor special. Enjoy 20% off any regular menu price order when you use promo code Gregor at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
USA and Sweden. If Sweden wins, that's who Canada plays. If USA wins, Canada plays Finland in the semifinal. USA is leading, but could we have the third consecutive game where the game gets tied in the final 5 minutes of regulation? It was actually even later. Finland tied it with 72 seconds remaining earlier today, and Canada tied the game when it was Nick Suzuki with 3 minutes and 37 seconds remaining. So, and by that, Sweden's got a lot of time left. They got a lot of time. There's about 5 minutes left in that game, and we'll see. It would be unreal to have another 3 consecutive overtime games with games being tied late. That would be great theater for sure. So we'll see if the Swedes can do it. Now, let's get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by the Spruce Grove Saints. If you're looking for exciting BCHL action, hey, you got no hockey to go to, hasn't been any for a while. You want to see it live Friday and Saturday night at the Thompson Family Arena in Spruce Grove. Sick barn, by the way. Get your tickets at sgsaints.ca. Tyler Yaremchuk from Wonders Nation and Daily Faceoff joins us. And Ty, what was going through your mind watching Team Canada today?
I mean, a lot of nerves, honestly. Like, we kind of we've seen them go through the preliminary round, not really get pushed all that much. And then as that game went on and it stayed tight and Czechia got the lead back at 3-2, I'm sure, like a lot of other Canadian hockey fans, I had the nightmares, flashbacks of all those World Junior quarterfinals where Czechia's upset Canada. So, I mean, my takeaway from it is if you were someone maybe like myself who was like casually emotionally invested in this tournament so far, you are probably all in now because that was a heart attack this morning.
You know what? In the second period, you're like, oh, Canada, they make it 2-2. They're kind of in control. And then Czechia scores, and you're just, oh, geez. And then Suzuki, who looked like he was tired on that shift, man, it kind of made something out of nothing and ended up with a fantastic deflection on a shot that was going wide of the net. And, to beat Dostal to tie it. And then Mitch Marner with a great goal in overtime to win it. The crazy, there's a few things in that game, but the too many men for Czechia, which no one really saw in real time. I didn't even see, usually and somebody's going to point it out on social media. It wasn't caught right away. It wasn't for a while. And, and it was interesting. The Czechia coach afterwards was like, the refs were on their side. And, it's like we're playing 6 people. I'm like, dude, you scored your third goal with 6 guys on the ice for an extended period of time. Probably not the best time to complain. Now, make no mistake. That was a blatant miss when Pasternak took the elbow to the chops. That's a penalty all day.
Yeah, they missed that, but they also missed an interference penalty on Crosby. And, the Celebrini call, I think, early on was soft, and the Kempney one was soft. And I just felt like the officials just kind of had an off night where they were chasing that first original bad call for sort of the rest of the first and second periods. And in the third, they put the whistles away. But the miss too many men, like insane. And what's the craziest part about that is like, there's situations where you play with one too many guys for 10, 15 seconds. I'm sure it's happened a lot before. The fact that they pulled off a line change, Gregor, and 6 fresh guys all jumped on the ice. Like when they were celebrating that goal along the boards, there were still 6 Czech players on the ice. Like the fact they pulled off a line change and didn't correct it is the craziest part of that whole sequence.
Well, I think, I'm sure if it was Pierre Lebrun or somebody had reported that, when they showed the Czechia players, they didn't even know, right? Lots of guys on the ice didn't even know they had 6 guys. Like, you're so focused. Everybody's looking at the puck and everything, and game happens pretty quickly. Like 4 officials didn't see it. So then when the 3 guys come off, they're probably like, hey, let's get back on the ice. No one's even thinking. And you're kind of like, why do we got so many guys here on the ice? And ultimately, at the end, it didn't matter. Canada finds a way to come back and win. Probably the only negative in that game, of course, is the health of Sidney Crosby and whether or not he's going to be available on Friday.
Yeah, that's going to have some big ripple effects with how John Cooper is going to have to handle the rest of his lineup, because obviously we saw today he loaded up once again McDavid, Celebrini, and McKinnon, and that trio when they were out there they were dominant. But if there's no Crosby, I wonder if you can get away with doing that again. Nick Suzuki, awesome, stepped up into that role and gave them some really, really quality minutes. But I think with no Crosby, you might need to keep McDavid and McKinnon split up. And honestly, I know the stat sheet, 6 points in 4 games, looks good for Nathan McKinnon. I also know he might be a little bit banged up, but I think they're going to need a little bit more from Nate McKinnon in the semis and in the finals. And that's elevated now with potentially no Sidney Crosby. He's got 6 points in the tournament. Only 3 of them have come away from the power play. And even of those 3 points that have come away from the power play, 2 of them have involved either McDavid, Celebrini, or both of them. So I think they need Nate to be a bit more of a driver at 5-on-5. And I think that's the first big decision that John Cooper is going to have to make ahead of the semifinal is what line mates, who can I put with Nate to get him going a little bit? Again, if he's banged up, I don't know who you got to put with him or how you can make the best of that. But yeah, I think they got to try to get McKinnon going. And whoa, do you have the Sweden-USA game on?
Did they tie it?
I
just called it, baby. I just called it to say, hey, the third game of the day. Holy cow. This is, if you're a fan of hockey, what do you want? Canada ties it with 3:37 remaining. Finland ties it with 1:12. And Sweden ties the game. I have no idea who scored it or not, but
Zabinajad with 91 seconds left.
91. Wow.
Squeaked past him, too. Wow, what a goal.
That is, that's crazy day in hockey. I can say that for sure. Well, hey, that's a great pass from Raymond, man, by the way. Oof, wow. So, it's if you want drama, baby, can't ask for much more. right?
Yeah, it's been so good. I mean, I didn't wake up to watch the Germany-Slovakia game earlier today, but even the end of that Finland-Switzerland game, for never mind the late tire for Finland, they were down by 2 goals with like 6.5 minutes left and still found a way to claw back. So again, this tournament has been kicked into hyperdrive here today, and it's going to set up again some great semifinal matchups. Like again, I'm maybe one of the people who got a little ahead of myself when I watched Canada dominate their way through the relegation round. And, I'm having conversations with people at the office like, oh, would it feel the same if Canada goes to a gold medal, never gets pushed, maybe doesn't have to play USA at the end? I mean, after today, the way Czechia pushed them, whether it's Sweden, whether it's Finland on Friday, you cannot overlook any opponent in this tournament. And today is a great example of that.
Yeah, no, it's very, very true. Connor McDavid had another really solid game for Canada. No surprise at all. Celebrini continues to score. And, that was a huge goal by Mitch Marner. They needed and Suzuki, they needed their depth guys who hadn't done a ton. Like McDavid up until those 2 goals had factored in on 50% of their offense until those final 2 goals.
Yeah, they need to get other guys going. And the list of, if you want to call it culprits, is long. Like that line, obviously, with Crosby, Stone, and Marner was very good early on in the tournament. Even if maybe the production wasn't all that high, they were giving them some good shifts. I think Bo Horvat's had some nice flashes, but I'm looking at a guy as well. Like I talked about, maybe Nate McKinnon having to get rolling a little bit. How about Sam Reinhart maybe finding his game? Like that's a guy who's getting top line power play minutes, and I'm still barely noticing him out there for Team Canada. Reinhart's a guy who is a proven playoff performer. Obviously, Oilers fans are know about that. They need to find a way to get Sam Reinhart going. And I'm curious, like Suzuki is so much better down the middle than he is on the wing. So like mapping out a lineup without Sidney Crosby, maybe you do keep Suzuki down the middle, put him with Marner and Stone, and that line can, kind of replicate or get close to the minutes that they were giving you with Sidney Crosby. Maybe in the semifinals, you throw Nate with Sam Reinhart and you kind of give Sam Reinhart like all right, this is your shot. We're going to move you up into the top 6. Yep. You haven't had your game, but you're a good player. We're going to give you an opportunity here.
It's an interesting one. They might. I guess if you're probably going to keep Hagel with McKinnon. So you're probably not going to move him up there, but I think they might just go back to Wilson to start though.
Yeah, I think Wilson with McDavid and Celebrini for sure. And then again, if you're moving McKinnon away from there, how do you kind of divvy up the rest of the lineup? Like it is tough. I mean, that Sidney Crosby loss, I don't mean to sound like Captain Obvious, but it is really, really big. And another thing you saw in that hockey game, Canada got dominated in the face-off circle towards the end.
In the third, they were winning in the first 2 periods, but then right in the third period, they started getting dominated.
Yeah, and it was the only 2 big ones I can think of them winning was when Czechia iced the puck back-to-back times late in that period. I think they managed, and I think it was McDavid who won both of them, kind of like straight back to Nathan McKinnon. And the one ended up being a good scoring chance for McCarr. Then the other one actually was stunned. Nathan McKinnon didn't shoot it. He was right in between the circles, and he passed it off again. But those were really the only 2 big faceoffs they won, which, I mean, I didn't love if I want to nitpick Czechia a little bit, who played awesome in that game. I felt like they went to the, ice the puck thing a little bit too early. There was, again, those back-to-back ones, and they eventually tie the game. But I think Czechia maybe went into prevent defense just a touch too early there.
Yeah, probably. Going to the orders now. Paul Coffey returns. What are your thoughts?
I'm kind of torn on this one. Like, again, has the blue line been good? Has the team defense been good this year? No. And I do think there's a lot of times where it's just too easy to point to a goalie and say bad goal against, point to the blue line and say, oh, the blue line stinks, this team can't defend. Like, it is a 5-man operation to defend at the NHL level. And I think everybody shoulders the blame for how poor they've been for stretches this year. So like, I don't know. I'm not a believer that just magically dropping Paul Coffey onto this bench is going to make everybody on the blue line suddenly play better. Like what? If he gave them these lessons and words of wisdom and his experience really rubbed off on them, if that was true from the last couple of playoff runs, you're telling me that they magically forgot all of that this year? So again, I see value in it because he was behind the bench when they had 2 really good runs. But I just think there's too many people who think that the presence of Paul Coffey is going to magically have a bunch of players snap into the way they played during the playoffs last year or the year before. I'm just not fully there. I just don't believe this is some sort of magical fix. And I'm also really intrigued at how the rest of the coaching staff kind of feels about this. I know publicly they're kind of saying all the right things, but like, Greg's, is this not a demotion for Mark Stewart?
Oh, no, it's a demotion, 100%. It's a demotion. And there's no way he's not going to run the bench, right? Like Knobloch said it. Hey, he's still going to be part of the penalty kill. He's not running the bench for the defensive side. So, yes, it's a demotion there. I really think I think it illustrates a little bit of nervousness in the organization that because for 25 games, I mentioned it, their first 2 months were not very good. Offensively, they weren't good. Defensively, they weren't good. Nothing was good. Then on December 1st, right? Since then, McDavid got going. He had a unbelievable month of December. Other guys started scoring. Defensively, they cut their goals. They were like top 3 team in goals against average for 25 games up until I think it was January 20th or something. And then all of a sudden it just blew up. And then their defense was bad, but then their penalty kill just went atrocious. And so I think honestly, they lose 3 in a row. They're not overly safe in a playoff spot. You've got an extra spot on the bench that you didn't fill. And you've got a guy who's been around the organization, talking to the coaching staff and the players throughout. And they're like, hey, we know what this guy brings. He has a different approach, and it reduces some of the responsibilities on Stewart. But yeah, I think this is definitely where, Coffey comes in. And Evan Bouchard talked about how he converses, during the game and helps guys. And so we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, there's no way you can't deny that this is a demotion for Stewart for sure.
Yeah. And impossible to say that this was a bad move by the Oilers. Again, it's worked with that 4-man bench the last couple of playoff runs, and the players, like you said, speak highly of Coffey. So there's no way this is a bad move. I just think it's too easy to point to it and be like, perfect, now the blue line is fixed. I still think they probably need to add another veteran onto the back end, and they still need to beef up that forward group because, again, having another quality, if you want to call it a top 6 winger, having another quality third line center, or moving Nuge down and giving him minutes when McDavid and Draisaitl aren't on the ice, like all of those things will also help them play a more sound, complete game, and that will also make their defensive metrics look a lot better.
Yeah. It will be interesting to see kind of how they play coming out of this. Leon Draisaitl will have a week off. Canada, hey, who knows? McDavid, they're either way, they're playing on Sunday because they're either in the bronze or the gold medal game. So, do you think they convince McDavid to take a game off, or do you think it's just reduced minutes coming out in that 3 games in 4 days?
I think if he's healthy, and again, I know he was shaking his hand at one point in this game, but obviously nothing that was significant for Connor McDavid. I think you're going to have a very hard time convincing him to take a game off, no matter how these Olympics win. Like, I don't think if Canada wins gold, he's going to kick his feet up and say, all right, I'm good. You guys can play without me for a few days because I got a gold medal. So I think you're going to have a hard time convincing him of that. I think it's going to have to be a situation where you reduce his minutes for a little bit and hope you can get some contributions from other places in the lineup, because you just mentioned the spot that they're sitting in when it comes to the playoffs, not entirely comfortable here. Well, you have Anaheim, San Jose, LA coming down. Like, these are 3 massive, massive games. It's 3 straight 4-point swings for the Oilers. You are going to need to go and win 2 or 3 of these. If you only win one of them, you could call it a borderline disaster considering where we are to start the season. So for that reason, I don't think Connor McDavid's going to put his hand up and say, hey, I'm good, don't play me. And I honestly don't think it would be the right call. I think even if he's just going out there and playing some power play minutes and it's a reduced 5-on-5 workload, he can still obviously positively impact the game. So that's what I would want. Also, are we both just totally glued to this game in overtime right now?
Yeah, well, it's interesting watching it for sure. I look at McDavid, and the thing is, McDavid's an elite level athlete. He can, he can play the travel. I do know that last year he admitted there was a little bit of an emotional hangover from that tournament, right? Like, it was big to win. It meant a lot to him to win. And I think the Olympics would be the same thing. No question. So maybe, it just comes down from the experience from that. Last year will probably help him kind of handle it. And, if those first 3 games, but then after that, they only play 1 game in 5 days, right? See, that's the advantage. So they play, and then, they play Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday. They don't play Sunday. They don't play Monday. They play Ottawa Tuesday. They don't play Wednesday or Thursday. So, you know what? They probably, they look at it. McDavid looks at it and says, hey, he's got to get through 3 games. And then I can get a fairly good rest where I only play once in 5 days. And, if I'm Chris Knobloch, and I would literally on those practice days, I'm like, sorry, you're not allowed on the ice. That's where I put my foot down. Nope, you're not allowed on the ice for this.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
do what they do with like injured football players, take away their helmets. Like you hide Connor McDavid's skates somewhere so he's not even allowed to come out onto the ice. But I agree with you, and you're right. You get that rest, and it's rest on home ice, so he'll be back sleeping in his own bed for a week. That Ottawa team, again, that should be a relatively safer matchup. So yeah, grind through those 3 games. I don't think you want to sit him and totally remove him from the lineup. And then Draisaitl, I think it is maybe a bit of a blessing here for the Oilers that, again, no one wanted to see him get bounced. The McDavid-Draisaitl matchup would have been cool, but now he gets a full week off to rest and recover before the back half of the year, and that's a good thing.
It sucks for him and Szymanski, no question, but I'm sure Oiler fans are a little bit like, well, this may be better for us. So they look at it that way for sure. Ty, have yourself a good one. Go enjoy the final minutes of overtime, and who knows, maybe it'll be a shootout. We'll see. Imagine 10 minutes of 3-on-3 and no one scores. That'd be wild if that happens.
If the USA keeps taking shots from the outside for some reason, we might go to a shootout. They've made some bizarre decisions here. But anyways, I'll go enjoy the game. Thanks, Greg.
There you go. That's Tyler Ramchuk from Oilers Nation. We'll take a quick break. We'll return. It's the Gregor Show. We got another overtime, and who knows, maybe we'll have a winner during the break. We'll update you when we come back. You're on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca.
A pizza from Papa John's is already pretty great, but you know what's even better? 2 pizzas from Papa John's. For a limited time, get a medium 1-topping pizza for only $6 when you order any large specialty pizza at regular menu price. Whether you're feeding your family, your team, or yourself, get your next meal from your locally owned and operated Papa John's with a $6 1-top medium when you order any large specialty at regular menu price. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Hey, Edmonton, did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on Mega Jackpots Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game sense.
And that's another goal for Canada.
You know what would be even better than winning gold?
Okay, I'll bite.
Winning a gold medal made of Wilhauk beef jerky.
Athletes do get hungry, and they could use a snack on the podium. I think I'll start a petition.
Really?
No. Now pass the Wilhauk and turn up the games.
For a truly Canadian snack to cheer on our truly Canadian athletes, you need Wilhauk beef jerky, made with Alberta pride right here in Leduc.
McValue meals are here. Get the McD's you love for $5 plus tax every day with your choice of a McDouble, Junior Chicken, or Chicken Snack Wrap with small fries and small fountain drink. All for just $5 plus taxes. Canadian restaurants. Product availability varies. Prices exclude delivery.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Cantork has always been a forward-thinking company, but now that we've turned 25, I can't help but take a minute to take a look back. Thank you to everyone that's been with us along the way.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need: Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Action Electrical Solar Team is now making a play for sustainability and savings. They're specialists in powering up for a greener future.
That's the strategy. Designing and installing high-efficiency solar panels. They're helping homes and businesses combat rising utility costs by harnessing the power of the sun.
A smart move for efficiency and the environment. Hire the Action Electrical Team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Need a new ride for road trips, errands, or just life on the go? Go Auto offers a massive selection with over 15,000 new and used vehicles to choose from. With over 70 locations across Western Canada, finding your next ride has never been easier. Whether it's a roomy SUV for the family, a sleek car for the open road, or a rugged truck for your weekend adventures, you'll find it here at a price you'll love. Explore thousands of vehicles today at goauto.ca.
If you manage or lead a team, join your peers April 14th to 17th at the Banff Management Course.
PA Douglas Training invites you to 3 days of immersive leadership development in beautiful Banff, Alberta. Learn how to manage conflict, motivate and influence others, strengthen teamwork, and improve productivity. Proudly Canadian, PA Douglas has trained over 150,000 professionals. Registration includes 3 nights at the Banff Springs Hotel, breakfast, select meals, refreshments, and course materials. Register now at padouglas.ca.
Hey, brother, there's an endless road to rediscover.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork, made in Canada, made for Canada, where extreme isn't theoretical. Find your solution at cantork.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.344, welcome back. The semifinals are set for the men's hockey tournament at the Olympics. It will be Canada versus Finland. And the USA will take on Slovakia. Quinn Hughes, the overtime hero. Clearly, they had a scouting report. They want to shoot from dead center, a little bit high in the slot on Markstrom. And Hughes, the third time, not his third time, but the third time, they tried a little bit longer of shot. It worked. And they are now heading on to the semifinals. Canada will play the first game. That'll be at 8:40 on, that's 8:40 Edmonton time on Friday. And then it'll be USA and Slovakia going at 1 o'clock Edmonton time. So 8:40 for all of you. Plan ahead on Friday morning. And don't count out those pesky Finns, man. They are tough. Both them and Canada have each in the time with the NHL players in the Olympics. It's 5 appearances now in the semifinals. Finland, this is their 5th one. And Canada's won gold 3 times. They lost in 06. And in 98, was that in the semis? I think it was, because then they lost. And they lose the bronze medal game to Finland. Is my memory correct on that, Cons? Check that out, 1998. I think that's what it was. So either way, man, the Finns always find ways to find themselves in the semis. So good for them. And then, of course, the gold medal game a little bit earlier, and people wondering why. Well, it's because it's the final day of the ceremony. The gold medal game in men's hockey is always one of the final events of the Olympics, all the time. And so you've got the closing ceremonies later that night. So I saw some people online. I can't believe they're doing it. Well, they've always done it. They don't change it based on the North American time zone. It's not really how it works. There you go.
Just enjoy it and enjoy the memories.
Yeah.
Like in 2014 when it was in Russia.
Yeah. Get up early.
Get up early. You were right. 3-2 lost to Finns in 98.
In the bronze medal game.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, yeah. So them and the Finns have both been in the semifinals 5 times. Not bad. Not bad at all. Let's get to 5 questions. 5 questions now. Brought to you by The Brick. Looking for furniture, mattresses, appliances, big screen TVs, you name it all, and they get it at great prices at The Brick and The Brick Dog.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, Jason, we will get to the Olympics, but I want to ask you the question, what impact do you have Paul Coffey to have on the Oilers behind the bench, and who do you think will benefit most?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'm going to say Darnell Nurse because he's the one who needs it the most. So I will say him. The impact, like I said, the Oilers had a stretch where they were pretty good, but more inconsistent. This is Paul Coffey's been there. He's helped them. The players ultimately at the end of the day are the ones who have to make the decisions on the ice. But, Paul Coffey, his messaging probably resonates with the group. So they're hoping that it'll do it again.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I mean, we talked about his resume. This guy's done it all. Won Stanley Cups. He's a Hall of Famer. Had some of the best seasons we've seen from an offensive defenseman. I'll say the guys who can probably learn the most. Maybe Spencer Stastny and Ty Emberson, the younger players. I think listening to Paul Coffey could probably be a really good learning tool for them. So I'll go with that. Question number 2 for you. With the winner today, he also assisted McDavid's winner at the Four Nation Faceoff. Do you think Mitch Marner deserves a little more credit for being a big time player?
Yeah. Let's pump the brakes on it. A huge goal today, right? I thought he scored an overtime goal, actually, or assist on it, either one. Yeah, like he hadn't done much in the game, but he made a big play at the right time. So it matters for sure. You know what? For years in the NHL, he hadn't done it, but that's why it's, he made one huge play. It's awesome. To me, big time players are guys who've done it multiple times. I'm not there yet.
Yeah, I wanted to go check his game-winning goals in the NHL this season. It's a long way down. I like to take a little shade at the Maple Leafs, and maybe it was just the Maple Leafs problem. He's, been okay in the playoffs, never elevated his game, which is what you want to see, but I applaud him. Good for him for stepping up in this one. Now, in these games today, as you mentioned, we saw overtime all over the place. So in honor of that, what is your favorite overtime moment in sports? And it can be biased, whatever you want.
Go ahead.
I've got a couple. The one for me, and I'm sure Indianapolis Colts fans would hate it, but was a playoff game in San Diego. Chargers ended it on a screen to Darren Sproles. Colts didn't even get a chance. Peyton Manning sat on the sideline, so I could see why they would hate it, but that one stands out, and I'll always remember Tim Tebow to Demaryius Thomas in the playoffs. Tim Tebow throwing it about as far as he could. DT takes it to the house, and they beat the Steelers. So those two away from hockey stand out.
Okay, I'm going... Wow. I got to go Peter Klima. 1990, I was a young teenager watching that game, and Peter Klima comes off the bench where he had been benched because he had too many giveaways early in the game, and he got benched. And then the coach's like, God, we're in the third overtime. Guys are tired. Let's go. Let's get that garbage kind of can helmet that he wore. And then Peter Klima scores a goal. It was a massive goal. They obviously, that was the playoffs. There's no Wayne Gretzky on the team anymore. So I'm going to go with Peter Klima in 1990. Triple overtime.
Good one. Question number 4. Canada now up to 4 golds, 14 total medals at the games over in Italy. Are you satisfied with that medal count so far?
Well, when you look, there hasn't been a ton of surprise medals here yet for Canada. A lot of them have kind of been expected. So, and obviously not everybody that you expect to win is going to win. They still have some, curling's got some opportunities. Obviously hockey, the women are guaranteed either a silver or a gold. So we still got more going. Reese Howden is a favorite in one of the events for him in ski cross. So, they still got more here, but I don't know. I think Canada was expected to be around 22, something like that. So, maybe 23 or 4. So it's kind of where it is, but yeah, I would be lying if I said I knew enough about every sport to say, wow, Canada has really disappointed in some. Like Mark McMorris, great, but he wasn't really expected to medal, right? I think what Kingsbury's done is amazing. Courtney Saro's already got 4 medals for her. So, Oldham has won 2 medals. So I haven't seen, I'm trying to think who was somebody who was a big favorite that didn't do well. Maybe Will Danjanu. I think they probably thought he'd be a little bit better, but man, short track speed skating is hard to predict. We heard from Wotherspoon yesterday on the show. He said, and he coaches, he's just like, hey, in long track, if you're in a sprinter in the 500 meters, usually the fastest person can win, but it's not always that way in short track. So I'm not going to say I'm disappointed.
Yeah, and Danjanu earlier today had a chance, couldn't get it done, but Canada still found a way to get the gold in that event. I was just going back, looking at the last 5 Olympics. They've gotten north of 20, mostly over 25, except for Turin in 2006. So I'd say maybe a little bit lower. If they get to 20, I think that's a pretty good number for them, and they've got some events coming up here where they can certainly do so. Final question for you today, Jason. It is National Drink Wine Day. You have a favorite wine and a favorite go-to pairing with said wine and food?
Yeah, I'm not a huge wine guy. Wine's never really agreed with me, and so I can't say if I have a favorite wine, to be honest. I will say, you know what? Any I do like Merlot reds. Not even as like I'm not a wine enough guy, but I would say a good Merlot red with a steak is always good.
Yeah, I'm like you. I don't enjoy wine. I don't usually pair it. In my younger days, my friends and I might grab a bottle of Moscato just to drink maybe earlier on, just pass it around down the hatch. Super sweet. Tastes like sweet apple juice. Could lead to a bad headache. But other than that, no, I wish I could. I wish I could enjoy that, pairing it up with a nice steak or, pasta, whatever it might be, but it's just not me.
Yeah. All right. And I like the taste of wine. It just doesn't. I don't know. If I can't have too much of it. I can have one good glass. If I have too much, I had wine once. I just felt like significant amounts of just like the worst hangover of my life. And I don't really get hungover, so I was like, it's like it dehydrates you as you drink it. So I just try to stay away from it. I like a good wine, but I don't love it. If that makes any sense. So, and really, I'm probably too cheap to buy the really good one. So there you go. Coming up, Ritch Winter will join us. Mathieu Darche is going to be by. We got lots and lots to discuss with the Islanders general manager in the business of sport. Of course, he's having a great first year as the GM of the New York Islanders, and Mathieu had a career. Of course, he one of those players who you went the CIA, so didn't play major junior, right? Played at McGill University, and ended up having himself a pretty decent pro career. Right, finishing off with he played, I want to say Nashville and Tampa. He finished off with the Montreal Canadiens. So we'll talk about a little bit on the player side, and then transitioning into management and what's worked for him. What has he learned? Like, he's a young guy. He will he turns 50 later on this year. So you know what? Hasn't an undrafted player. So I think knows a little too about the adversity it takes to get and succeed at pro hockey. And maybe a late developer. We'll see. So, because, his final year, I don't know if you ever looked at his stats, like his final year at university is where he took off. So I'm very curious to talk to him about that. Like, he became a goal-a-game guy. He had 27 goals, 62 points in 26 games his last year at McGill University. And then, pretty good first year with the Syracuse Crunch. And, had 4 solid NHL seasons. His best was his second last one with the Montreal Canadiens when he had 12 goals, right? He's a bottom 6 guy. So we'll talk to him about his playing career, lots about his management career, and more coming up on the business of sport. But first, let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Loca. 2 locations, Sherwood Park, West Edmonton, over 200 chef-prepared meals. You want to eat healthy? You want to eat even convenient, because they will deliver right to your door. Pre-made meals that are good and healthy for you. Meals.loca.
The Sports 1440 update.
Over at the Winter Games, Canada picking up a big win over Czechia in overtime, 4-3 to advance to the semifinal. Mitch scoring the winner. Tough news for the Canadians as Sidney Crosby left the game in the second period. Did not return with a lower body injury. Other kind of quarterfinal action has Finland beating Switzerland 3-2 in overtime. Slovakia beating up on Germany 6-2. And the States getting past Sweden 3-2 in overtime as well. Quinn Hughes with the winner there. With that, Canada meets Finland in the semis, where the States get Slovakia. Elsewhere, Canada's Steve Law picked up gold in the men's 500-meter short track. Canada also won bronze in the women's 3,000-meter skating relay. In curling, Rachel Homan's rank snuck past Italy 8-7, while the Canadian men beating Italy 8-3. On this side of the pond, the Edmonton Oilers announcing that Paul Coffey will return to the team's coaching staff, adding that he's expected back on Friday as the team continues their preparation to return to action next week following the Olympic break. Coming up in Hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we've got another edition of the Business of Sport. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440. Station CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Noodle 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 noodle. Stroll below down to Oodle Noodle tonight because dine-in is open.
Sometimes you think about what you're going to do in the day. Go to work, pick up the kids from school, make supper. But at GS Construction, we think a little differently. Winter is our season to think, to plan, and to improve. We study, we innovate, we train. So when the thaw comes, we're ready to dig, build, and deliver even better, which means we need people like you. If you're thinking about joining the team at GS Construction, now's the time to do it. To apply and to see how we think, visit gsconstruction.ca. For the first time in 66 years, Golden Bears and Pandas hockey are on the move. During the 2026-27 Canada West season, two of the most successful hockey programs in U Sports history will call Silent Ice Center in Nisku their temporary home. The Golden Bears and Pandas are excited to connect with the South Edmonton community and welcome new fans to experience the tradition and excitement of U of A hockey. Same tradition, new temporary home. Golden Bears and Pandas hockey at Silent Ice Center for the 26-27 season.
They're not just a grocery store. They're a butcher, a baker, a cafe, deli, rotisserie pizza, and restaurant, all under one roof. Loca Quality Market does food differently with two locations to serve you, Edmonton and Sherwood Park. Visit loca.ca.
And on the rocks, the party never stops.
Check it out.
Mondays, bingo tunes.
Tuesdays, tacos and tequila.
Wednesdays, it's wings and karaoke.
Shake what your mama gave ya with salsa lessons on Thursdays and the best Latin DJs.
Plus, live music every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, along with DJ Kenny K.
Hold on, let's not forget $5 happy hour, 7 days a week.
Your bar, your party. You're on the rocks.
On the rocks.
Jasper Ave and 118th.
The job won't wait. Why should you? At AWS Welding Supplies and Repairs, conveniently located in Nisku, we've got everything you need to get it done. From product sales to servicing and calibrating machines, we're your one-stop shop. We're a proud, locally owned and operated business, committed to serving our community with a proven track record of customer service. Don't let a broken tool slow you down. We offer fast repairs and free same-day delivery of in-stock items to Leduc, Nisku, and South Edmonton. AWS Welding. We make it happen.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Get down to Harley-Davidson of Edmonton's VIP Spring Blowout Sale this Saturday and Sunday from 10 to 4. New motorcycles are selling for as low as $12,900. And ask us about the 1-year extended warranty on new and used bikes. Bring your buddies, because when they buy a new Harley, you get a $500 referral credit. For more details, visit Harley-Davidson of Edmonton on the Yellowhead Trail or at hdedmonton.com. See you Sunday.
With some non-Nissan drivers here.
Nightmarish flurries out of the Northwest today, looking like a horror movie.
What Nissan drivers
3 o'clock.
It's a glorious
We roll
day
through.
out there.
Hear the forecast. Get a Nissan Kicks all-wheel drive for $398 monthly at 2.9% with $0 down. Built, tested, and trusted to conquer
Sweden,
Canada's harsh
if
winter.
us
Visit your local Nissan dealer today or nissan.ca for details. 60 months.
Or welcome
Visit
back.
your local Edmonton
The
and area
semi-
Nissan dealer for more information.
Diablo Boots sells only Canadian-made work and biker boots made by Canada West. No American or boots made in China, so no tariffs. All of Diablo's boots have replaceable soles and heels for longer life. Sizes 6 to 14 EEE. Buy quality, buy Canadian. And support Canada West and Diablo, the two best names in the boot business. So save on boots by Save on Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save on Foods. Buy Canadian. They're terrific.
1 in 3 adults don't get enough sleep. The Brick is here to help with deals on your entire bedroom. Save up to 50% off clearance mattresses, 50% off beds when you buy any 3 matching pieces. Buy one, get one half price on ceiling memory foam pillows, and save $100 off any adjustable power base when you buy a mattress over $9.99. Plus, check out other incredible savings in every department. Some exclusions apply. Check out The Brick in South Common, West Ed Mall, North Side, and downtown.
Whoa, I gotta put some money on the game tonight. We hit our monthly budget. Whoa, how did you get in here? I'm you, the responsible you. We're right. We'll play another time. Sounds more like us.
If you gamble, use your game sense. Visit GameSenseAB.ca.
The longest running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio, from weekend warriors to professional athletes, kids playing soccer to grandparents in the garden, rotator cuff tears and tendonitis to post-surgical knees and hips. We fix your body. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Welcome back. It is the Wednesday edition of the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Always brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, casino, live dealer, lottery, instant sports, you name it. They got it all in one place. Also, while you're there, you can check out the Jason Gregor Show. Every day we give you some odds boosts and picks, so check it out. Some little NBA action for you tonight. Hey, don't look now, but the Charlotte Hornets are on fire. Who would have thought that? 9-1 in their last 10 games. Oh, so ride the wave with the Hornets. Ride the wave. Check it out. PlayAlberta.ca. I'd have to look in franchise history. Is this the first time they've ever won 9 out of 10 games? Seem wild to me. Coming up here in the business of sport, Mathieu Darche, the GM of the New York Islanders, is going to join us as we have us, of course, means Ritch Winter is here. Rich, what's happening?
I was heartbroken. I thought you were going to forget to introduce me there.
No, not at all, buddy. Just waiting for you to sit down, give you a breath. Number one rule, never run to the microphone.
Right. You saw I was in Phoenix last week, LA. I had a great Super Bowl party with some friends in Newport Coast. And life is good. It was a really good week. So a little depressing to come back to all this.
You came back the cold time, but not depressing if you're a hockey fan. What a day for hockey. Oh my goodness. Comeback city. The Canadians come back late, tied. They win in overtime. The Finns come back, tied late, win in overtime. The Swedes tie it late, but unfortunately for them, they don't win as Team USA wins. And for those who want the Canada-US matchup, but still potentially there, Canada has to beat Finland, USA has to beat Slovakia, and then those two teams will meet on Sunday. And I'm guessing everybody in the hockey world watches this closely, including our next guest. Of course, he is the general manager of the New York Islanders. He was an undrafted player, went to McGill University and really lit it up in his fourth year, earned himself a pro contract, turned pro the following season with the Columbus Blue Jackets and spent parts of 3 seasons with the Blue Jackets, then went to the Predators, the Sharks, the Lightning before finished career, which what I have to think was a thrill from a kid from Montreal to finish his career playing with the Montreal Canadiens. And then he has made the transition to management look smoothly. And I know it isn't that easy, but he's made it look pretty smooth. Mathieu, welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Hey, I really appreciate you coming in. First of all, as a GM of an NHL team, and how do you watch these Olympics?
Well, of course, I'm cheering for Canada. So my Andre Palat almost broke my heart today. But listen, I've seen Pally score those goals quite a few times. I think it's funny because I saw on my feed today, like his 2022 when we lost to Colorado in the final in Tampa. I think he scored 3 or 4 goals, game-winning goals in the last 5 minutes of the game in those playoffs. So Pally's done that. Hopefully, he still has some of that left for the Islanders. But I think it's good for Canada at the end that they get a little bit of adversity. But then I just finished watching the U.S. games, so it's great for hockey. Entertaining games, 3 overtimes today, so it was fun. I watched pretty much every game.
Yeah, well, I would think so. Now, as a GM, you want your players to be there, and I want to get your thoughts, Mathieu, on your young phenom in Matthew Schaefer, which has really, I think, caught the entire league by storm. And I don't know what your expectations were of a guy who only played 17 games last season, but to not just make the NHL as a defenseman, which is hard to do, I think, at 18, but to thrive and a lot of times dominate as an 18-year-old. Can you kind of put into words for, as the head of that organization, just what you've seen and maybe how surprised you are from the success he's had as a rookie?
Well, you use the right word. He's thriving because young guys, you don't want them surviving in the NHL. You want them thriving. So, listen, I spent a lot of the summer talking with the agent. Obviously, we know he's a special player, saying let's be open-minded here, right? The kid played 17 games. So he went from us thinking, well, there's a chance he goes to Erie and plays World Juniors to being one of the last guys being kept off that Olympic team, which is outstanding. And honestly, since I would say late November, initially we kind of not sheltered his minutes, but we play him more on a third pair. And since I would say mid to late November, he's been playing against the top lines on the other team, and he's been outstanding. And not only as a player, but just as a human being, as a kid. It's fun because the players love him because he's humbled. He's got youthful enthusiasm, but he's very humble, and he's brought a lot of life to our team this year. That's for sure.
Well, and Mathieu, it's Ritch here. It's like what people don't realize, he's really just 18, right? He's barely 18. It's mind-boggling what he's doing at this age, and what's his trajectory? It's almost unfathomable.
Well, yeah, he's 10 days from being in next year's draft. So his birthday is September 5th. So it's makes me start to feel old because he's 2 years younger than my youngest boy. So, but listen, the sky's the limit. He's really. Honestly, I really started training camp saying, let's see what he has. And then every game he got better. And then by game 3, when I saw Patrick started to play him 25, 26 minutes a game, at one point I went down, guys, do we need to play him that much? But he gives us a chance to win, right? So after, I'd even wait the 9 games. I called his GM in Erie after game 6 or 7. I said, yeah, you're not getting him back this year. And he goes, well, we were kind of expecting it when you started seeing 24, 25, 26 minutes. So does he still have things to work on? Of course. But what I love is we played Edmonton in January. Obviously, Connor was on a 22-game point streak. And he was thriving on the challenge. He was excited. Actually, I met Ritch that morning. And when I was in Edmonton, what's crazy is he was excited before the game to play against McDavid, getting the D's, hey guys, let's do a job on McDavid. He's 18 years old. Instead of being, all right, tonight I'm playing McDavid, he was excited by the challenge. And that's the kind of mindset that you want in a player it's going to have a huge role on our team for many years to come. So it was great to see. And listen, Ilya Sorokin played an awesome game that game. That's why we won 1-0. But I guess we did stop Connor's point streak. So honestly, he's a special player, and we're lucky to have him.
Mathieu, you mentioned Patrick. Tell everybody a little bit about Patrick, because the Patrick Waugh and I know is dramatically different from the guy who was pounding the glass over and when he was coaching in Colorado, or all the fire we saw in him in the ice. He's really a really a wonderful guy. And just share with us what you know of Patrick Waugh, because I think the fans here in Edmonton would be surprised to know what you and I know.
Yeah, for sure. And even me as a Quebec kid growing up watching him, a lot of people thought we knew each other when I got this job. Actually, the only time I spoken to Patrick Waugh before having this job is last year after a game in Tampa. He was walking towards the bus. I was walking towards my car, and obviously I know who he is. He knows who I am because I played in Montreal, and then obviously being in Tampa and winning those cups. So we chatted for 5 minutes, just, hey, how you doing? My name is Matt. My name is Patrick. And that's it. So when I got the job, that's when I got his number the first time. So I got the job, and on the Friday and the Sunday we met in Montreal for 5-6 hours. And, after meeting with him and doing my due diligence, I called around everywhere he's worked and get some information. I wanted to work with him. And you know what I told him? I told him that maybe a month and a half or 2 months ago. My perception as a Quebec kid, seeing him in the media and coaching junior, was Patrick is my way or the highway, right? I know more than all of you. I'm a winner, which he is. What really surprised me is how humble he is. I sometimes I say that to some friends in Montreal. They're like, really?
And they laugh. Yeah.
I said, he is very humble, and he's asking opinion all the time. He's asking his coach's opinion. Obviously, even during the break, we talked almost every day. He's asking my opinion. Even sometimes I said, hey, it's your decision, So, and he's really a team player. And like I said, I told you, Ritch, last time too, Patrick's independent financially. So for him to coach for 14, 15 years in junior, riding the bus to Cape Breton and Baie-Comeau and these places, like you got to be passionate. So I've really enjoyed working with him. And that was my biggest surprise. And I told Ritch when I met with him last month is that was my perception as a Quebec kid, because you see the fire in his eyes, right? It's like, and you heard what happened in Colorado. You're like, oh, like it's my way or the highway. And it's absolutely not the way he is. Like, so I've really, really enjoyed.
I think Mathieu, he may have been that way. I think he's really matured, and I mean, I think it surprised you a little bit to see that not only was he reaching out to you and to others to learn his craft, he'd even reached out to me to seek out an individual that I know very well that has had an impact on a lot of people's lives, coaches in NFL and NBA, and. I think you were even surprised to find out that he got that number from me. And that just tells you how passionate he is. I'm sure I'm not the only agent he reached out. I mean, Patrick Roy is like a lot of the great athletes. He wants to be the best he can be. And sometimes I think, Mathieu, early on in his career, he was his worst enemy, right?
Well, first time you come's a pretty good enemy.
Well, I think what happened is his passion used to, I like it a little bit like Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant talks about early in his career, he wanted to be the best player. And that's Dominic Hasek and Patrick Roy and Sidney Crosby and Kobe Bryant. But towards the end of his career, he realized greatness came from making other people better. And I got to know Patrick when we had players playing in Quebec, and he surprised the daylights of me in terms of how he handled himself and how he really was. I had one of my players, Adam Ernie, basically lived at his house almost because he was dating his girlfriend at that time's daughter. And but I just think over time he just was able to conquer that. And what Kobe found out, just when I elevate others and we win, that's greatness. And I really think Patrick's found a different type of greatness in the last few years.
And you're right, Rich. Like I don't mind mentioning because Patrick has mentioned it, but. Patrick wants to improve, so he reached out to Ritch because he knew Ritch knew a gentleman, a sports psychologist called Michael Gervais, who's worked with the Seahawks. He's worked with multiple athletes. He's a really well-known person, just to help him with his message to the team, to the players, and we talked about it. I wanted to hire a sports psychologist, but Michael is probably too high profile for what I wanted, because I wanted someone when we did hire someone that's going to go to Bridgeport, our AHL team is going to talk with our junior kids and all that, which that wasn't necessarily Michael and Patrick, just because of I guess, continuous improvement or whichever you want to call it, self-improvement. Like he's actually spending it from his own pocket. So he's not even asking the team. So he's like, and at one point I said, hey, Patrick, we can help you. No, it's for me. It's to help me be a better coach and communicate better with the players. So I'm taking care of this. So he's not just going, I'm Patrick Roy, I got a big name, and wherever I coach, it's going to work. So he's trying to get better, which is a great quality that he has. He doesn't think he knows everything because he's won cups. He doesn't, even when we talk about our goalies, Patrick's humble enough to say, he told me, he's like, I can't coach a position today. Yeah. But one thing he did, when Ilya was struggling at the beginning of the year, is at one point we talked, and someone else that I respect a lot around the league, that's a goalie coach, and he told me, but Patrick still has the mindset. He might not coach a position technically, but he still has the mindset of a goaltender. So I talked about that with Patrick, and he started spending more time with Ilya, just talking mindset-wise, not technique, because the game's different than when he played in shootouts, how he approached it and how he scanned the ice and the desire to win and have the big game. So he's done a great job with that. So I like his humility that, hey, I might be Patrick Roy, I might be the greatest goalie of all time and winning 4 cups and, 2 or 3 MVPs, if not 4. I have work to do on certain aspects of the coaching job, and he took it upon himself to get better.
I remember him talking to Adam Ernie one night. We were out for dinner, and he asked Adam when he started preparing for games. And Adam, said, I get there at 4:30. I work on my sticks. Patrick said, wow, you wait that late? And then he went through story after story about how he would lie in bed the night before and visualize Yzerman, Shanahan. He has a pretty good idea what they're going to do from having played them. And he plays the whole game in his mind before he even gets to the rink the next day. And I think those things that people don't know about, like a young Ilya Sorokin doesn't know about. I mean, Patrick has so much to impart just from the way he conducted himself, away from the rink and the massive amount of preparation he did that really goes unnoticed because he's doing it between the sheets in a hotel on the road.
Absolutely. That's the way Patrick is. And that's why the greats are. Tom Brady, you've seen documentaries of, and we were good friends with the GMs and the Bucks in Tampa. And he said that, they have iPads. They know how many minutes every player is on it. And Tom was outside the facility. He was over 20 hours a week.
Yeah.
So there's a reason. Sidney Crosby's the same way, right? Those great players would be very good players, but they're great because of, I see it in Tampa, Nikita Kucherov, the season ends. A week later, he's on the ice 6 days a week. And then he invites some guys to do his drills. You miss one day, you can't go on the ice with him anymore. He's literally like that. He said, you miss one day, I guess you didn't try to get better today, you're done. You're not coming on the ice with me anymore.
Well, there's rules, Matthew? And you maybe, I don't know if we're going to a break, but it's here soon, Jason, but you enforced your rules recently when, and it's important to have that kind of commitment to values and but you had an issue with one of your players and you dealt with it without letting him get off the hook.
Yeah, that's I've learned that. And listen, the culture we had in Tampa, it's different. I'm not trying to bring Tampa to New York, but there's a lot of things I've learned. And it's I use the line, hard on issues, soft on people. Like, be firm on what you believe and it doesn't mean that you're scratching a player and you have to yell at him and call him names. And you just have, we scratched one of our top players because he was late for a meeting. And the conversation I had was actually this tone. It's like, yeah, but these are the rules. So you're going to miss the game. So that's why I said, I'm hard on issues. Like, we have some rules, we have some expectations. I'm not going to deviate from that, but I'm not going to be a jerk enforcing it. I'll still enforce it, but in a human way, like talking to the player. And to me, that's the best recipe to.
Well,
to
if the rules don't apply to the best players, they don't really apply, right?
Well, they do apply to the best players. That's what I mean.
Well, I know that's what I'm saying. If they don't, like in your case, and when Alex Ovechkin was healthy, scratch, missing a game, missing a practice, Barry Trotz said that was the day we won the Stanley Cup. So, and everybody, there's so many teams where the rules apply, sort of, right? They don't apply.
Accountability can be there only when it's convenient.
Yeah.
Because if not, what's the point of it? So, listen, we've made some of those decisions in Tampa, and I just brought the same kind of there's some non-negotiables, right? Some guys will get away with a few more turnovers on the ice, like McDavid and Kucherov, and those guys are the top players will get away with a bit more turnovers. But there's some things that are non-negotiables, and being late is that's a pet peeve of mine too. And I've mentioned it at training camp in my first meeting, and it happened. And then we moved on. We actually lost that game, but you never want to. I'd rather lose a game than lose my culture.
Yeah,
so it was okay to lose a game and then we went on a tear after that. And so I think your culture is more important than just the result of one game in an 82-game season and many seasons that you're going to be there. So that's the way I view it.
Mathieu Darche joins us. He is the general manager of the New York Islanders. Mathieu, in the business of sport, you kind of like to look at the whole journey a little bit. So I want to go back to, you were playing high school prep hockey in the U.S., and then you went to McGill University. You didn't play a major sport. You weren't drafted. I'm sure when you went to McGill, I don't know if your mindset was, hey, you know what, I want to play pro hockey, or was it more, I just want to get a university degree? Kind of take us through kind of where you were when you decided to go to McGill and what your hockey future was at that moment.
Well, I grew up playing multiple sports. Like in high school in Montreal, I was playing hockey, football. I see my brother played 9 years in the NFL after. And then I went to prep school. My mom was a teacher too. So the school was as important, if not more important than the sport itself. So that's why I went down to prep school. I didn't know anything about prep school. French kid from Montreal. And there's an English school in Montreal that kept sending kids to New England prep. And they like multi-sport athletes. So actually the football coach after a game they started knowing the family through my brother before me. They came to us and said, hey, they knew I was a good hockey player. I was a good football player. And they said, I think Matt could be a good profile for prep school. So I actually ended up going to Choate in Connecticut, and I played on the football team, the hockey team, and the golf team.
Oh, wow.
And I had, because it's 3 semesters, usually do a sport a semester.
Yeah.
And then I had a scholarship offer to UMass Lowell, the only team that gave me a scholarship. Our team wasn't very good, but I had a pretty good year at Choate. And then the football coach from McGill said, if you come here, I talked to the hockey coach, which was Martin Remo with Guy Boucher as his assistant. they say if you come here, we'll let you play 2 sports. And my brother was playing at McGill and only football. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go back. So, and I turned down a D1 scholarship because then I think I'd play pro. Yeah, like any kid from Canada, or like it was a dream, but you don't really think about it, right? So I went back to McGill. My first year, I actually had 1 assist in my hockey season.
Yeah.
I was the only freshman that played every single game in football. I had actually a better football season, but then I had 5 classes, like a full course load. Like in the winter, I remember I used to indoor football practice from 7 to 8:30, classes all day, then hockey practice at night. It was just too much. And after my first year, I was like, I didn't want to just be average in 2 sports. I wanted to. So I went to the football coach who was shocked because actually I got recruited for football. Even Quebec, they have some Quebec bursary, Fondation de l'Athlète d'Excellence at every sport in college. I got one for football, not even hockey.
Okay.
And then I decided to just play hockey. And then I went from 0 goal, 1 assist to 21 goals in 26 games. And Guy Boucher, I knew since I'm 13 years old. He went to school, my sister. And then he was the assistant coach. He worked with me after practice. And then my last year, I led the country in scoring. And Columbus came in the league. I had 4 offers with signing bonuses. And I was like, these guys are fools. I would have signed for, I would have gone on a tryout. But I actually didn't even take the biggest offer. I took Columbus. There was no cap on signing bonuses. So it was a bit more than today. And then I started my career, and I played 9 games my first year after playing King in college, and played the 9 years. And now I retired. Actually worked in the business world for 6 years. I still did some RDS pregame, postgame shows in Montreal.
Yeah.
You know, when you got a face for TV, you got to use it, right? But and then Julian became GM in Tampa, and Julian signed me in Montreal. That's how my relationship started with Julian Brisebois. Okay. He was the assistant GM in Montreal. So the reason I signed in Montreal, actually, because I only been call-ups, and then I spent a full year in Tampa with Torts in 07, 08. And then the next year I signed with Buffalo. That's the only team that never called me up. So I was the whole year in the minors. So when they gave the job to Guy Boucher in the minors, he's like, hey, he brought Martin Raymond and Daniel Lacroix with him. And he was telling Julian, I want a good vet. I know Matt. Like, can you bring him? He'll be a good vet for us. We had PK Subban coming in and guys like that. So Julian signed me, and that's how, I mean, I was a good player in the AHL, obviously. And that's how our relationship started. But even then, after a few months, I ended up in Montreal. I finished 3 years in Montreal. And when Julian left for Tampa, actually, I'm the last contract he signed. It was my first one way at 33 after my first year in Montreal. So he probably like, I'm giving this guy one way. I got to get out of here. So anyway, we stayed friendly. Like once a summer, we used to go to dinner with our wives, but we never talked about working together. But he knew I'd want to get back in hockey eventually. But I had opportunities. But I had a great job in Montreal with Delmar. My wife was working. I did a bit of TV. My kids were in high school. But then when Julian became GM, he called me and he goes, listen, they were playing in Montreal. I mean, we talk once a month about what's going on in hockey. He likes to pick people's brain. Julian's like that. Like he calls people just to, he likes the way I was thinking. And then he said, why don't you come meet me for breakfast at the Ritz? So I kind of knew he wanted to talk about something like that. And he said, listen, I just became GM. I need someone to replace me. But I need someone with me in Tampa. So obviously the hesitation was actually I was taking a salary cut to go there. But then my wife at one point, and who's outstanding because she followed me, my wife has a master's. She has better grades than me at McGill. That's where we met. And she put her career on hold for me. And she had a job, but she's like, hey, you always said you wanted to be a GM. This is your chance. If you don't take this one, I'm just letting you know I'm okay to go. The kids will be fine. They were 14 and 16. And I still hesitated, but she goes, if you don't take this one, I don't want to hear it anymore because this is your last chance, you know. Like but it's the best chance you can have, really. Yeah. I came in right away first few years I didn't have the title of assistant GM, but I got it after a couple of years, and my job didn't change. It's just a title. So I came in fairly high in the hierarchy, I guess.
Yeah.
And Julian trusted me. I was kind of his guy too, and we went on to win 2 cups and the final in the first 3 years. I'm like, this job's easy. Like, come on. So that's a bit the background, and that's how my connection with Julian started. And again, he was a great mentor to me. He even through a few interviews I've done over the years, even this one with the Islanders, I did an interview, went to World Championship. They flew me back. Julien was at the World Championship. But every night before going to bed, he'd call me, all right, anything you want to talk about? And can I bounce things off of me? As I was going through the interview process, which he was outstanding. So obviously he's a good friend and a mentor. I still probably talk to him every week, and we text, I would say, pretty much every day. So that's how my path was to where I am now.
Well, that's an amazing journey. I love it. Now, what position were you as a football player?
I was a linebacker and a long snapper. My brother played, my brother out of McGill got drafted by the Argos.
Yeah.
He was halfway done his med school because obviously Canadian college, you can play 5 years. So he did 3 years his undergrad because in Quebec, because of CJEP, it's 3 years. Then he did 2 years of med school. He got a leave of absence to play with the Argos, broke his leg in the playoffs. He was drafted in the 3rd round. He's like, I'm going to go finish my med school. And then Seattle called him for a workout as a long snapper because he was linebacker and long snapper in the CFL. And then he won the job. So he got a 1-year contract, a 2-year contract, a 4-year contract. Then he signed with Kansas City for 4 years, got released after 2 because he tore his ACL. The NFL is tough in that aspect. And then he went back to med school, and he's been the Chiefs doctor for the last 8 years. So he's got 1 more ring than I do. He's got 3 rings, and I only got 2. So I got to catch up to him.
Well, no, yeah, that's Jean-Philippe, right? Or JP,
yeah.
they call him.
JP, yeah.
Yeah, so no, that's amazing. So obviously you got some athleticism in the Darche family. So Matt, we're going to take a break, and then when we come back, I talk a little bit more about that business side. And even though you were out of hockey on your business, I want to see how that helps you maybe on the business side of hockey next year on the Gregor Show with Ritch Winter and Islanders GM Mathieu Darche here on Sports 1440.
Hey, Edmonton, did you know Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on Mega Jackpots Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game sense.
And now Action Electrical's testing team is on defense duty. They're the guardians of safety and compliance, a critical part of any lineup.
Precisely. They perform rigorous safety and code compliance testing for commercial operations. Think of them as the referees, ensuring everything is up to standard before disaster strikes.
Their preventative plays are legendary, spotting faults early. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Day or night, tasting just so right. You can order Oodle Noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. Delivering noodle noodles almost right away. Remember, you can order Oodle Noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle Noodle.
They're not just a grocery store. They're a butcher, a baker, a cafe, deli, rotisserie pizza, and restaurant, all under one roof. Loca Quality Market does food differently with 2 locations to serve you. Edmonton and Sherwood Park. Visit loca.ca.
A pizza from Papa John's is already pretty great. But you know what's even better? 2 pizzas from Papa John's. For a limited time, get a medium 1-topping pizza for only $6 when you order any large specialty pizza at regular menu price. Whether you're feeding your family, your team, or yourself, get your next meal from your locally owned and operated Papa John's with a $6 1-top medium when you order any large specialty at regular menu price. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Your furnace is dead. It's time to replace it before winter crushes you. Legacy Heating and Cooling is practically there already.
Yeah, we're working in your basement. Doing a replacement. The work is so earnestly building your legacy.
With no payments and no interest for 1 year, you gotta call Legacy. Replacing your dying furnace before it's too late, that's how you build your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, They're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at edmontonexpocentre.com today.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at ewell.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Exciting news from St. Albert Dodge. The all-new 2026 Jeep Gladiator Sport packages have arrived. They have a great selection and a bunch of colors to choose from. And if you've checked out the Sport, you know it comes in some fun colors. Rugged capability, practical off-road features, and you can get behind the wheel for as low as $49,900. That's right. Put yourself in a brand new Jeep Gladiator Sport for less than $50,000. What more can you ask for? Time to head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. Team Canada is back in action, and OTR is ready to be your hockey headquarters. $5.75 Molson Canadian, 69-cent wings, and play, score, and win every game. See more at ontherocksyeg.com.
This is Sports 40, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by playalberta.ca.
.433. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Ritch Winter here on Sports 1440 is always brought to you by playalberta.ca. Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where 100% of the revenue stays right here in the province at playalberta.ca. And our special guest today in the business of sport, the general manager of the New York Islanders, who are currently sitting in third place, right behind the Pittsburgh Penguins in the race for home ice in the Metropolitan Division in his first year as the GM. Of course, was hired by the Tampa Bay Lightning as director of hockey operations back in May of 2019, won 2 Stanley Cups with them, and was hired as a GM of the Islanders in May of 2025. So May's a good month for you for getting hired, Mathieu. But I do want to talk, in between retiring, you worked, you were the VP of sales and marketing for Delmar International. Did that, being in that role, did it help you at all in the management role now in the NHL?
Well, absolutely. It's funny because when I got this job, I got the job in Tampa. Julian called the owners of the company because the owners were my bosses. It's a Montreal-based company, Canadian-based. Actually, the biggest Canadian freight forwarder with offices. I went to China, to Bangladesh, India, Mexico. So I traveled a lot for that job, which was a great experience. And when he called them I told him I was leaving, and he called them not to apologize, but to say, hey, thanks for what you did for him. And he says, part of it is I think he always had interest in working with me from what I understood. If he got a GM job in 15, 16, 17, whatever, but he felt I was even more prepared for this job because of the 6 years. Like I learned to manage people because I had a team of about 40 people. I've learned to manage budgets. I've learned to manage sales expectations and things like that, and processes and all this. So even if it wasn't hockey, of course, it helped me. And the other thing that I feel helped me a lot is being involved in those labor negotiations as much in the AHL as in 2012 with the CBA. Unfortunately, I never played after those, but to me, I always joke with people, it was like doing an MBA in 6 months with, watching Gary and Don Fear go at it there. I mean, people can say what they want about both of them, but they're smart people, right? They have experience. So it was interesting to see that aspect. And of course, getting into this job after being out of hockey, doing this, I knew the CBA pretty well because I negotiated it.
Right.
But I was part of the group that negotiated it. So, but definitely Delmar was a great stepping stone. And, one of the reasons I stayed on RDS too is to stay connected in hockey a little bit because it forces you to watch games. Back then, RDS had the media rights. So we would do all the playoff games. I would do pregame and intermission for games that were not the Montreal Canadiens. The Montreal Canadiens, I would do some pregame and postgame. So it kept me relevant with what the players around the league. And then when I jumped in with Julian, and it was somewhat seamless. Obviously, he taught me a lot. And what I was very fortunate, and I've told people, is a lot of times you see every team now, they have 3-4 assistant GMs, and everybody's in charge of one thing. Yeah, part of my role was the salary cap and budgets and contract negotiations, but I'm very, very fortunate. It's not because I'm better than anybody else. It's because I had a person that allowed me to do that. And Julian, is I was involved in every single aspect. Sometimes he called me like his chief of staff, almost, So I was involved in amateur scouting, pro scouting, the analytics department, because Tampa's really advanced in analytics. So when I took this GM job, nothing was new to me because I felt like I was assisting Julian in every facet of his job. So I'm very fortunate that he made the transition to GM a lot easier.
What's the 2 favorite books Julian has given you to read since you started working with him? Because he's given me a number, and I'm curious what your favorite is, because he's an avid reader.
Yeah.
I always used to call what we do the Julian Breezebaugh Ritch Winter Book Club. We'd share books with each other all the time. He's an avid reader.
Well, one of them that I really enjoyed is Grit by Angela Duckworth.
Oh, yeah, great
book. Outstanding book that Julian gave me. I mean, gave me a bunch. And another one, it's funny because when during my 3rd year, I started getting a few interviews for GMs. They brought me a book. It was called Now Why? Now What? It's like, all right, you got the job now? Now what? What do you do? Like, it's like the steps getting into a new job, like the 100 days, and 100-day plan is pretty vague and generic, but like it was a book about, all right, you try to get a job, you interviewed for a job, and now what? You're working towards being in the Olympics. You're training. Now what? So, which I thought was really interesting. So
I really liked
a bunch of books he gave me.
Oh yeah, the one I really liked was called "Turn the Ship Around." I don't know if he ever recommended that to you. It was about a captain of the worst performing nuclear submarine in the U.S. fleet, who he turned around. It's just a great leadership book on how this guy mentored, and I found that what I found with him, and maybe because I'm in the hockey business, maybe he very seldom recommended a sports book. It's always something really unique.
I can always learn.
Another great one that I liked is from David Epstein. It's called Range.
Range is very good. Yeah,
it's very good. It means like that the title underneath it says, in an over specialized world, generalists tend to do well because, and the example that stood out to me in the book is there's an engineering problem that no one can solve. So they keep having engineers attack the problem, but they all have the same thought process, right? And then they brought a lawyer that has let's say an undergrad in engineering, became a lawyer, practiced as a lawyer, and then just because he approached a problem from a different angle, he solved it compared to all those. So meaning that being well-rounded instead of just, and I do this in my management group, I don't want only ex-players. I want different people part of the management group so we can approach decisions and from a different angle. And that's probably where me and Julian complemented each other well. Is obviously he's a lawyer. He's got an MBA, a lawyer. I'm a former player with some education background too. So I thought we complemented each other really well. So that's a real good book from David Epstein, who also wrote The Sports Gene, which is an interesting one.
Yeah. Mathieu Darche joins us, GM of the Islanders. Mathieu, you mentioned when you're in Tampa Bay, you got interviews for a few other GM jobs. And I've talked to guys before who say, like, going through that process, that can, even if you don't get the job, there's lots you can gain from it. I know one of the teams you interviewed with was Chicago. And did you not interview with like multiple different people for that job? Like outside, like guys who weren't even working for the organization, like former players even?
Yeah, at the end, like whatever, they start with a bigger group. I mean, Chicago is the one that were posting who they were interviewing.
Yes.
And there was a process with a headhunter that like very defined, here, prepare these things in presentation. And there were some assessment tests and all that. And at the end, when they narrowed it down to 2 people, then we did separate interviews with 3 former Blackhawk players on top of it. And so yeah, it was interesting. You know what? Every one of them were different. that I did. And the reason I stuck by too is felt every one of them ended up in the final two. So I was like, listen, Julian told me also more often than not, they know who they want before it starts, those interviews.
Yeah, exactly.
And
that was definitely true there, Matthew. There was a president who wanted somebody that she could control, and she got it.
I don't know. Again, that's not for my purview because I think Kyle's done a good job there.
He's done a good job. And I like Kyle. He's a really good friend of mine, so I like Kyle.
Yeah, even the other ones, which is fine. It's for you to convince them, which I felt I did here in New York. And there was a few close calls, but it's fine. I felt I got better in every interview. And when I got to the Islanders interview, I just decided, let's not try to tell them what I think they want to hear. Let's just pitch completely my plan directly and prove to them that I know what I'm doing, and I'm how can I say it? I say with authorities, meaning I'm confident in my plan.
Yeah,
and that's what I presented here, and I was fortunate enough that they gave me the opportunity. And I always joke with them. At one point, people asked me, I said, I fooled them, but it's okay. I fooled my wife 25 years ago. She's still with me. Hopefully in 25 years, I'm still here. But no, it's been a great work environment. The ownership group has been outstanding here. And I think we're having a pretty good season. It's still a lot of work to do in the last 24 games. We have 24 left, and it's going to be a grind. The playoffs have basically started, especially in our division. You win 2, you're in second or first place. You lose 2, you might be out of the playoffs.
Yeah. Now you mentioned that, telling them what they want to hear compared to my plan. And I think that, that's anywhere in the world. A lot of times, oh geez, I want to present well, but I also want to say, what they want to hear. So now that you know that it works better when you just, hey, I'm going to give you my plan. I'm confident in my plan. When you were going through the hiring process for yourself now, Matthew, as the GM, to find people below you, do you tell them that outright? Don't tell me what you think I want to hear. Tell me what you're confident in. How does that work now that you're the one who's doing the hiring?
Well, the best line, and I'm going to get back, you're going to think I talk about Julian all the time, but first year, I told Julian at one point, I said, you know what, Julian, my job's to give you my opinion when you ask for it. And he goes, no, your job's to give it to me when I don't ask for it. So, and that's what I want. Like when we did 2 trades before, like a week before the break there, with Palat and Carson Soucy, and the Palat trade, obviously, there's the cap hit. I'm giving a player back that, it helps reduce the cap hit. I'm getting picks. And at the end, I was all right, this is the deal. And I have a chat that I call the cabinet, and I go, all right, talk me. This is what I think I'm going to do. Talk me out of it. Yeah. Try to, I want a devil's advocate. I want you to, and sometimes Julian, when he told me that, sometimes I would really agree with him, but I would just go in with well, what if this and this, so just to bring a different angle, and sometimes by just talking it out, you think about different things. So I can't stand yes people. Like I don't want yes people with me.
Yeah.
I want people that will challenge me, and I hope people become GMs, and I hope, I want them to, every time I make a decision, at the end of the day, like your job is you're getting opinion from your staff that you trust. Patrick's part of that too, because obviously he's coaching a team, and then I got Ryan Bonus and T. Pellegrino. I hired Matt Martin too, that just retired. So that's a perspective of a guy that just retired, that was in the dressing room too. So I'm asking all their opinion. At the end of the day, I'll make the decision. So whether it works or not, that's my responsibility, but I want everybody's opinion. And like I said, I told them, tell me why I shouldn't do this. And some of them had some argument, well, maybe we should get this instead, get this, and then we debate it. At the end of the day, I have to make the decision. Someone needs the hammer, right? Because if not, you can paralysis by analysis, right? You can just go in circles, because there's always a risk to every transaction. So you can always find, well, what if this doesn't work out? Yeah, but if you never make a mistake as a GM, then maybe you're not trying hard enough,
And that makes sense. And so that leads me to Matthew. Now, you've obviously been involved in trade deadlines before with Tampa Bay, but now, you're the GM, and your team is in a position here where you're right in it, as you mentioned, but it's close, but you're in a really good position from your previous experience. And you've seen teams when Tampa was right in the, there's a difference of, we're a legit cup contender. That's what we're going for, compared to we're building up there. But when you're building up there, Mathieu Schaefer's been a surprise. I don't think anybody thought he would be a 25-minute night and like dominant defenseman. So you look and say, hey, we got one of the best goalies in the league. We got a better team. How often do you kind of change your mindset leading in to a trade deadline as it's led up to it, like compared to maybe in November? Now you're like, hey, I might owe it to my team to have to make a significant move. How do you balance that?
In a way, like when the season started, people ask me, what's your plan? Honestly, I want to evaluate at the start because we changed a bit the way to work and the culture, because not that before it wasn't good or not the way I wanted it. And one of the places I interviewed, they asked me, are we hiring Julien Brisebois 2.0? I said, no, yeah, a lot of things I've learned from him. But if I try to be Julien, I'll be a phony. And if he tries to be me, he'll be a phony. We have different personalities. So I want to see how the guys react. And we have, Pelech and Pulak have had their best years in a few years. And the Horvats at the Olympics, and Ilya's been great. And then we have Schaefer. We have Emil Heinemann that's been great. I mean, a lot of players have been playing well. So we put ourselves in this position. And one of the reasons whether I do something between now and the deadline, obviously I'm on the phone every day. But even if I don't, actually, I already made 2 moves. There were subtle moves that didn't cost me really many assets, but improving the team. I just felt like it's on the players put themselves in the position. It's not about me. It's not about the coaches. When you win, I don't care what people say. It's the players. It's not the coach. It's not the GM. Yeah, we all have a role in it, but the most important people for you to win is the players. So at the end of the day, the players put themselves put our team in a position where we were. And I just felt once we lost Romanov, I wanted someone with a bit more. Like our call-ups actually did a great job. Yeah. We've tried a bunch of guys, Isaiah George and Marshall Warren and Travis Mitchell and guys like that. And we had Adam Bachfist that after a tough start was playing really well, but I just felt like to cement ourselves, it's going to be tougher and tougher. I wanted a more established NHLD and a defender and a guy that can probably take some of those PK minutes away from Mathieu Schaefer or just limit them a bit.
Yeah.
So instead of playing 26, 27, maybe he plays 23, 24 or 22. So, we're late in games. He doesn't need to take a slap shot off the ankle, So to me, like, it was just showing the players, hey, you guys have done a great job to put us where we are. So I'm trying. And Palat, I wanted a guy that has lived those moments. Palat has 155 playoff games.
Yeah.
Like the goal that he scored today, like I've seen him score many of those. And it's funny because someone here said, one of the reporters here said, I covered the 22 playoffs when we played the Rangers in the conference final. We're down 2-0 at home. He scores in the last minute of the game to win. The game winning goal in the last minute of the game. So we're 2-1 instead of down 3-0. So like he's played those moments before. So I just felt like the way he plays, he blocks shots, he plays playoff hockey. So at the end of the day, after those, I think my team is better. Would I do something else? I'd love to get another scorer, but everybody does. They don't grow on trees, right? Like, and the ones that have them, they don't want to get rid of them. So it's easier said than done. People always, we need this, we need that. Yeah, I'd love to, but the good players, the teams don't tend to give them away either. So, and I got 2 first-round picks. I have no problem moving one of them for a player that makes sense, not just for this year, but for a few years going forward. Because I don't want to, where the team is, I don't want to give a first-rounder for a rental that I lose at the end of the year, but I have no problem, and I've learned that in Tampa, we've rarely gotten a rental. The only one we've gotten was David Savard, but we won the cup, and it worked out. It's just the cap was so flat that we couldn't pay him. But you look at Barclay Goodrow, Blake Coleman, they still had a year on their contract. Brendan Hagel had 2 more years on his contract. All these guys are RFAs that you still control. You still have the player. It's just a question of agreeing on the contract, but you're not losing him for nothing. So I got no problem doing that if the right opportunity comes.
Yeah, just one quick side note. You might really want to pick up Michael Gervais' podcast this week last week because he interviewed Angela Duckworth, and I think you'll find it really interesting, and might mention to Patrick because gets into some stuff that I think is right in line with the culture you kind of hard there. So you'll enjoy it.
Now, Matthew, you said it earlier how I'd rather sacrifice a game than sacrifice my culture, and a lot of people hear the word culture, and sometimes I think they try to minimize it and they feel it's not important because it's something that a lot of people from the outside can't see and definitely can't feel. So in your experience, how do you build a culture? And more importantly, what are the keys to maintaining it?
Well, to me, it's through actions. It's not like culture gets thrown out like, oh, culture this, culture that is how you, I don't want to say enforce because it sounds too much like I'm trying to jam it down their throat. That's not it at all. But we expect a certain work ethic, behavior from the players, and you got to stay consistent with what you expect. Again, like I said earlier, accountability is a big thing in sports, and it can only be when it's convenient. When, it's a fourth-line guy that's late. Oh, we'll scratch him. Well, it's first-line player. Well, so I think it's just being consistent in the way you act and having the right message. And I think, and Ritch can attest to that, being an agent, is I'm always honest with the players. Like I'll have the conversation on this tone, but I've told guys, listen, when I started in 2000, you'd see the GM, you'd be like, oh, almost like everybody puckers up, and there was more the mentality. Not every GM was like that, but there was more the old school mentality, that fear. Managing through fear. I like to manage through care. That's my way of doing. That's my personalities, and it doesn't match other people's personality. And the way they're doing it doesn't match my personality. But I believe in managing with care. But that's why I said earlier, hard on issues, soft on people. I don't mind having the hard conversations, and that's the toughest thing sometimes in sports or in business is, sometimes like, the person might be upset by what you're telling them, but if you tell them in a constructive way, it's not always easy. Or when you tell a player he's not playing for various reasons, if you shy away from hard conversations, then people won't trust you. They won't believe in, like they say, well, I don't know what he means. So the players will always know what I expect of them, and if I feel there's an issue, I will meet with them and talk. But again, it's on this tone. They would come in my office, we sit and we chat, and all right, that's what I expect. We move on, and we've had a couple, like every team every year, you have a couple of issues that you have to talk with a player about, and once I tell them it's done, just act the way we expect you to act, and if you do that, like to me, it's done. I don't hold a grudge. You have to be able to have those hard conversations and make the hard decisions. And all those years in Tampa, we've had to let go guys like Palat, like Killorn, like McDonough. Steven Stamkos was a huge one. Ironically, I went on a 4-day trip with my wife Monday to Thursday last week, and the first guy I see in a restaurant is Noah Dobson, who I just traded last summer. But we had a nice conversation. It's business, right? Like it's and actually I enjoyed chatting with him. He was in a great mood, and I think that trade, both teams got what they wanted. People always look for a winner in a trade. It's okay to have a win-win trade.
Yes, totally.
That's my way of managing in a way. And the culture is to be consistent in what you believe, and not just when it's convenient. And I want this, but today might be a tough conversation. No, you got to have it.
Well, I think caring about people. We've talked about love, you and I, and when we got together. It's like sometimes really caring about people is actually having the hard conversation, right? It's like, I forget who said this, the guru from Lloyd Minister, but I can't think of his name, but he said, hard conversations now, easy life later. Yeah,
that's actually true. I'm not that with my kids too. I've always been, when I raise my kids, I'm honest with them. It's, if you screw up, you screw up, right? I still love you.
But you're not getting the car again for a couple of months.
But it's funny you say that, because one of the guys was like that. Actually, I read, and I'll send it to you after, Rich. I send it to one of our owners. Pete Carroll has been known for that, right? And there was a great article in The Athletic, because The Athletic, they have a subsection, it's called culture sometimes.
Yes.
So I read articles in there. It was really interesting. And luckily through, and I think I've told you, Rich, when we went to Vegas this year, the new GM of the Raiders, a friend of mine that was with the Buccaneers, he was the assistant GM with the Buccaneers. So we both became GM the same year. So we, that was in November. We were in Vegas, and we got in 2 days early. So one day in the afternoon after practice, me and Patrick went to their facility, spent time with the GM. Patrick spent time with Pete Carroll for like 40 minutes almost. just talking about it. And Pete's like that, right? Pete's full of energy, and he
crazy.
Yeah, I'll send you the article after, Rich. It's really
great,
interesting, and that's what I believe in. So.
Well, Matthew, thanks so much for taking some time with us today. We learned a lot. Loved your story. I didn't know you were a dual sport athlete at McGill, which is fantastic. I think it's something that specializing at young age isn't great for athletes. And obviously it's been a great choice for you, that choice to go to McGill, and then led to obviously a pro career, and then obviously now in management. So continued success. Enjoy the Olympics, and hopefully Canada and your Bo Horvat are celebrating a gold medal on Sunday.
I'd love to. I hope I greet him with a big hug and as a gold medal winner.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Matthew. Best of luck.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right.
There you go. That's Mathieu Darche, the GM of the New York. Man, I've only actually spoke to Matthew once before. And
Yeah,
it was very limited. It was in a scrum, but my goodness, you can see why he is a leader of an organization.
Yeah.
Just how he speaks, how he's very honest, knows who he is, right? Confident, without being cocky, and has had a lot of life experience.
Well, it's been really interesting for me to watch him go from lieutenant to general, because he's very much understands his role. Like he would say, well, Rich, when I become a GM, maybe we could talk about that. But Julian this and Julian that, is very respectful. And it's really been interesting for me. A lot like this particular podcast was spending time with him a month or so ago when they were here. We spent a couple hours together just shooting the breeze and talking. And, there's a lot more to Mathieu Darche than you figured out in that scrum. And I even learned over the 2 or 3 years I dealt with him. He's a really bright guy who's a really, really compassionate guy, loves his players, loves the people around him, and treats everybody respect, returns phone call. He's going to be successful.
Yeah. And you know what? Those two moves, Palat and, getting some veteran guys around your young players, because they don't have a ton of experience in that core.
Right.
And, those, I don't think anybody thinks the Islanders are a team that's going to go to the Cup, but
they might win a round.
Might win 2 rounds. Like Carolina is not like there's no Tampa Bay in their division. There's no Colorado in their division. There's no Vegas or Edmonton. Like they don't have like a real
Pittsburgh
dominant team. Yeah, and Pittsburgh, and who knows, like that Crosby thing is going to be interesting to watch. I really hope for his sake and the Penguins' sake. And then, Team Canada's sake, that it's nothing serious.
Yeah.
But, for him to leave a game, it doesn't happen very often. So, Rich, great stuff, man. Enjoy the now Czechia for you, because you've had so many Czechs over the years as clients. Are you watching that, or is it still pretty easy to be like, no, let's go
well, there was
Canada?
a time when I was one of the few people. I remember going to the World Juniors in Red Deer, and I had 21 of the 23 players on the team. I wasn't cheering for Canada, but I was wondering what they were thinking when I took all 21 of them out for dinner. Like, maybe Rich is too busy, but they never seemed to bother them. And of that group, I think 20 of them played more than 200 games in the NHL. They didn't win. I think they finished 4th or 5th, but that was a pretty good team to have the hook into that we did. So no, I've had a soft spot for Czechia, but over the last number of years, so many agents, so much going on there. My partner, who was tremendous recruiter, he died about 10 years ago, and we just didn't, Miro was the gold, Miro was the guy. So we just didn't want to deal with a lot of issues, a lot of under the table money stuff going on there, and just was. Although I've got a couple of really good new ones, so we'll see what happens the next few years.
Awesome. Well, Rich, we will chat with you next Wednesday. Have a good week.
Thanks, man.
That's the Business of Sport, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Let's get to the con man and a sports 1440 update, brought to you by Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Spring is coming, and so are the Corvettes. Come see the vets inside Northgate showroom. Trust me, you need to look at it right now. It's cold, it's winter. You just got to go in there and visualize. You got like Ritch Winter's hair blowing in the wind. You've got your vet on the Henday. Check it out, northgategm.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Over at the Winter Games, men's ice hockey, Canada battling back to beat the Czechs 4-3 in overtime. Mitch Marner scoring the winner to get Canada into the semifinals. Tough news for the team, as captain Sidney Crosby left the game in the second period and did not return with a lower body injury. Other quarterfinal action had Finland beating the Swiss 3-2 in overtime, Slovakia beating up on Germany, and the States getting past Sweden 3-2 in OT. With that, Canada takes on the Finns in the semis. The States get the Slovaks. In speed skating, Canada's Steve Dubois picked up gold in the men's 500-meter short track. Canada also won bronze in the 3,000-meter speed skating relay. In curling, Rachel Homan's rink snuck past Italy 8-7, while the men beat Italy 8-3. And over in Edmonton, the Oilers announcing that Paul Coffey will return to the team's coaching staff. The team adding that he's expected to join the team Friday as they continue to prepare for the return to action following the Olympic break. Coming up in Hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet, and hear Cam Tate's 2-minute warning. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
A pizza from Papa John's is already pretty great. But you know what's even better? 2 pizzas from Papa John's.
Welcome back. It is the Wednesday edition of the Jason Gregor Show.
Any large specialty pizza at regular menu price.
The Jason Gregor Show on Sports
4. Your family, your team, or yourself. Get your next meal from your locally owned and operated Papa John's with a $6 one-top medium when you
Jason
order
Gregor,
any
Ritch
large
Winter
specialty at regular menu price.
on the
Better
Hen Day.
ingredients,
Check
better
it.
pizza, Papa John's.
Legacy Heating and Cooling offers no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. So when you wake up to no heat,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
if you need it immediately with no overtime rates, if you need it immediately and want to combo it with AC,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. It could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
At On the Rocks, the party never stops.
Check it out.
Mondays, bingo tunes.
Tuesdays, tacos and tequila.
Wednesdays, it's wings and karaoke.
Shake what your mama gave ya with salsa lessons on Thursdays and the best Latin DJs.
Plus, live music every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, along with DJ Kenny K.
Hold on, let's not forget $5 happy hour, 7 days a week.
Your bar, your party. You're On the Rocks.
On the rocks.
Just West Ave and 118th.
The job won't wait. Why should you? At AWS Welding Supplies and Repairs, conveniently located in Nisku, we've got everything you need to get it done. From product sales to servicing and calibrating machines, we're your one-stop shop. We're a proud, locally owned and operated business, committed to serving our community with a proven track record of customer service. Don't let a broken tool slow you down. We offer fast repairs and free same-day delivery of in-stock items to Leduc, Nisku, and South Edmonton. AWS Welding. We make it happen.
1 in 3 adults don't get enough sleep. The Brick is here to help with deals on your entire bedroom. Save up to 50% off clearance mattresses, 50% off beds when you buy any 3 matching pieces. Buy one, get one half price on Sealy memory foam pillows, and save $100 off any adjustable power base when you buy a mattress over $9.99. Plus, check out other incredible savings in every department. Some exclusions apply. Check out The Brick at South Common, West Edmonton Mall, North Side, and downtown.
Who's that working on the underground utilities over there? All-Star Construction, that's who. What about the street lighting? Yep, All-Star Construction. And the directional drilling, hydrovacking, neighborhood renewal, and telecommunication work? Yep. Since 2009, All-Star Construction has been doing all that and more, shaping and building Edmonton communities for land developers all around Edmonton. That's what All-Star Construction is all about.
McValue meals are here. Get the McD's you love for $5 plus tax every day with your choice of a McDouble, junior chicken, or chicken snack wrap with small fries and small fountain drink. All for just $5 plus taxes. Canadian restaurants. Product availability varies. Prices exclude delivery.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
Bringing every project to life requires the right team. By joining the Japa Machinery Group service or sales teams, you can be part of setting a new industry standard. Celebrating a legacy of excellence with Japa. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Riverside Honda, 59 years and counting, is St. Albert and surrounding areas' premier Honda and Can-Am dealer. It's your dream. Ride it at riversidehonda.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
5:07. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, as well as YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Hey, be sure to give a thumbs up. Subscribe to our YouTube page. Very much appreciate that. If you could do it, that would be awesome. Also, Gregor Show is presented by PlayAlberta.ca. We've got a little NBA action for you. Of course, games don't start until tomorrow again, as they are coming off of their All-Star break. The Hornets are red hot. And the OG tonight, $32 million up for grabs at Lotto 649. Get your tickets, PlayAlberta.ca. Some more news, man. The news just keeps coming the last few days for the Edmonton Oilers, so we'll get to that. As Alec Regula has been loaned to Bakersfield on a conditioning stint, so he does not require waivers, because he would require waivers, and he hasn't played forever. So this is a very smart move. Get him down there. He can get some games in and just keep him fresh. And so it probably will you look at the amount of games he can play. I don't know if he'll be in the lineup tonight or not. I don't think so. But they play Friday. And he can get into 3-4 games before they recall him back up. So that could be good news for him. You got to get playing, man, just in case. As it's time now for the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction, your underground infrastructure specialists. Easy things like roads and running water. They help them get it going at GS Construction, as we welcome in Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet. Spec, how you doing?
Big day, man. Lots of hockey going on. Holy cow.
Lots of hockey going on. And, man, we just had an unreal hour interview with Mathieu Darche, the GM of the New York Islanders. Phenomenal story on just his playing career. How about turning down a Division I hockey scholarship so he could go to McGill and play hockey and football? Pretty good athlete. His brother, of course, ended up, was playing there. He wanted to play with him. His brother went on to play, went to Super Bowl championships in the NFL. Was a long snapper. With the Chiefs, and then also with the Seahawks. So a pretty good athletic family. I love that. But obviously the big hockey story was Canada and needed overtime. They lost Sidney Crosby. Heck, we got overtime in Finland coming from behind. We had overtime with Sweden and U.S. coming from behind. Man, the last 3 games were unbelievable.
Yeah, this is Gary Bettman's parody, I guess. I think we get complacent, Jay. I think we look at Canada's roster. We watch them beat 3 teams in the preliminary round when there's not that much on the table. And I think we all think, it's going to be 5-0 every day. And all of a sudden it's not. And it's 2-1 Czechs in the second period. And we're saying, oh, my God, like, what's going on here? Well, you know what? Like, I think here's what we forget. You know what? There's nobody in Canada grows up saying, man, my dream is to play in the Olympics and play against the Czechs and beat them. But there's probably 20 guys on that Czech team who would love nothing better in their life and would be remembered in Czechia for decades to come if they could knock Canada out of the Olympics. And I think we kind of forget that sometimes.
Well, I will say this generation of hockey players, they do grow up wanting to play in the Olympics, right? Like, McDavid, this is a big deal for him. Now, is it to beat Czechia? You're probably right on that, but should play in the Olympics and win a gold medal is what they want, which means you got to beat everybody at maybe not everybody, but different teams. And, like you look at the comebacks we saw today. Canada had to come back 3 minutes and 37 seconds. Finland ties it up with 1:10. Sweden ties it up with 91 seconds left. Like every game outside of the Slovakia-Germany game came down to the wire. Canada, I thought for long stretches controlled the game, but were unable to score. And, they didn't get much there. When McDavid had his second point of the game, it's 2-2, and McDavid's been in on 50% of Team Canada's goals at that point. 50. People in Edmonton freak out, and they're like, their depth's terrible. I'm like, yeah, this is just how good McDavid is. He's 50% of the offense. And by the way, they'd scored 22 goals in, at that point, 11 periods. So it wasn't like they were, they don't score. He's just scoring a lot at this point. And then finally they got 2 goals without him on the ice. Suzuki, a great individual effort that, on the forecheck and winning the battle and then getting the deflection. And then Mitch Marner steps up with a pretty big goal. So they did finally get some guys outside of McDavid and McKinnon and Celebrini scoring.
Yeah, and that's really big going forward here. Like, a guy like Suzuki, right? He's been pushing away and plugging away, and nothing's gone in for him. That's just one of those plays. Like, he's had way better scoring chances than that. He rang that one off the post, had a wide open net, didn't score earlier in the game, and then he pulls a puck that's going wide, pulls it back on the net, and it happens to go through Dostal's legs at the most important time of the game. I mean, that's just the hockey gods telling you finally earned one, I guess. So listen, the whole adversity thing, that's a real thing for me. They hadn't faced any adversity yet. Now they have. They looked it in the eye and they survived it. They came through it, and it was there. It wasn't McDavid to the rescue to get them through it. It was everybody else who came up and stood up and got counted. So, and Binnington, you know what? Binnington made some huge saves late in the game and in overtime. So they're well positioned here. They've gone through a little bit of, what do they say? Pressure makes a diamond, right? They've gone through some of that heading into the semifinal.
Yeah, well, no question, man. He is that you need some adversity. They hadn't really faced any, so that will give them some if you're a believer that you need it or not. But usually in a tournament like this, eventually there's going to be some close games, and so they came from behind first time the whole tournament. They had to do that, and so that'll give them confidence. The only concern really is going to be the health of Crosby and whether or not he's going to play on Friday. And when you watch that replay, you're got geez, and then you watch him walking off. He's pretty ginger, and who knows, walking gingerly, I should say. Who knows? Maybe he'll be fine for Friday, but even if without him, you should be able to win without Crosby because you got a lot of other depth. But it's a big loss, and I'm guessing he would be around the team, just sitting in the room at intermission, talking to the guys, and that type of experience. You heard Marner and them talk about how Crosby was just in the second intermission, just telling the guys just all the positive things about them.
Yeah, and how it was a rallying cry. This can't be Sid's last Olympic game, boys. We can't make this Sid's last Olympic game. And a lot of people think that stuff's not worth anything. I'm not one of those people. There's things that happen that a team rallies around. There's so many breaks, Jay. There's so many breaks. Look at Sweden. They come up a goal short today. Victor Hedman, their top defenseman, hurts himself in the pregame warmup. Doesn't play. The Czech score could have been the game-winning goal with 6 guys on the ice. That's just a break. It's just a huge break in the game. And sometimes they fall your way and sometimes they don't. It would be a national crisis if Canada lost that game and we're all looking at that frame with 6 Czech players skating up ice, man.
Oh, man.
Like, could you imagine how noisy it would be in our country right now?
Yeah. Oh, buddy, they'd be freaking out. Well, hey, you saw the Czechia coach. He was pretty fired up. Man, it's hard to win. We're playing against 6. And that just shows you each side has a bias. Don't ever kid yourself. Like, yes, I know Canadian fans like, they missed the Crosby one. I'm like, what about the elbow to Pasternak's face? Like, it's bloodied his mouth and there's no call. Like, that was an obvious one. And now the Taves on Netch, I was like, I don't know. Like, I saw that one and, I don't think it's a hook really. Like, I hate some of the, you put your stick there, you touch the guy's stick. It doesn't disrupt anything. I didn't think that was necessarily a call, but even if it was, that doesn't guarantee you'll score in the power play. That's the difference between scoring a goal with 6 guys on the ice. Yeah. You can't play with 6 guys on the ice. Like, that's clearly would have been blown down if they make the right call. Whereas you can call a penalty, but it doesn't guarantee you'll score a goal on the ensuing power play.
No. There's no way you can tell me that, sure, we can pick the game film apart and find a couple iffy plays, but in the end, that some Czech coach telling me he got a raw deal today when they literally got an actual goal, right? An actual goal resulting from a call where the whistle should have blown when they were in their own zone before they had possession of the puck, right? So, no. That's just sour grapes. He's a sour guy. His team lost. Let him be sour. That's the way it is. What do you think about coffee today?
Yeah, it's interesting. I'll be honest. There's a few things at play here. So he's not joining the team right away. So I'm wondering, was this decided 2 weeks ago? And then they still he's not joining the team till Saturday. So
Friday, I thought it was.
Yeah, but they're not practicing Friday, right?
Okay,
they sent out the release
Friday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
on Saturday.
They're on the ice on Saturdays, unless they've changed their practice schedule. But the one they sent out to us had him skating today and tomorrow and off Friday. So I look at it. So I know he's been around the team and he's had conversations with Knobloch, right? That I know for a fact because Chris and I actually talked about that about, I want to say 6 weeks ago. And I think there's a few things at play here, Spec, that if you would have talked to me on January 23rd, there's no chance they're doing this. For 25 games at that point, they'd had the third best defensive game in the league. Their penalty kill was great. But in a span of 8 games, everything just crashed down to earth. They can't stop a goal. Their penalty kill is 35%. 35% in a 5-game span, like beyond brutal. And so I think they look at this and say, hey, we got to change something. So we're going to go to the guy that we didn't really replace. They don't have to pay him anything extra. I have no idea how that works, but and it's at least somebody you know. Now, do I think it's that this means everything's going to be singing Kumbaya? Who knows? But like you and I are buddies, and we've had strong disagreements at times. But so who knows? Maybe Knobloch and Coffey both are like, hey, I think we can work together better the next time. I have no idea. So we'll kind of see. But admittedly, I'm a little surprised.
Yeah, I think we identified before the break here that it was going to be a hot topic in Edmonton. And to me, it starts with the owners at the owner's desk. The owner employs Coffey. Coffey's been on a contract with Cates for some time. And the owner wanted, listen, let's talk about the things that we know for sure. Coffey was part of Knobloch's coaching staff last season, correct? Correct.
Yes.
Knobloch redid his coaching staff over the summer, and he excluded Paul Coffey from it. If he wanted Paul Coffey back, he would have had him back. He didn't have him back. That tells me he didn't want him back. Is that fair?
Yeah, at that point, I totally agree.
That is fair. So the coach fires an assistant, and now we're 60 games into the season, and that coach ain't hiring that assistant back. That coach is being made to hire the assistant back. This is coming from the owner's desk down.
You think
so? That tells me that the coach is getting neutered here. Mm-hmm. The GM and the president can't protect him. And the owner is now placing people behind the players' bench. We got an owner meddling in how the hockey team is run. And I'll take you out to Vancouver and let's talk about how well it works when the owner gets too involved in hockey ops.
Well, I agree with all of that. If indeed it was from the owner, there's a part of me that wonders, does Chris Knobloch look and say, okay, you know what? Now I've had a few months to say, hey, maybe we made the wrong decision here. Because you are allowed in life to change your mind.
Yeah.
Right? Like, think about it. One of my buddies got married. They got divorced, Spec, and then 2 years later got remarried and then had 3 kids. So I'm just saying it's rare. It's extremely rare. And you know me, I'm not a big believer that, when you bring players back the second time, it's ever as good. Like the only way this is better than it was the first 2, because they made it to the Cup final 2 years, Spec, with Coffey. So the only way you look at this and say, oh, it's better, is if they make it to the Cup final again and maybe this time win. So it's hard to have even same success as what they've had. And here's the thing. I know a lot of people are like, oh, you know what? Oh, it's really going to help Bouchard. What are you talking about? Bouchard's had a really good year. Like, are people not paying attention? Evan Bouchard's not the problem. Now, maybe Coffey comes back and he can help Darnell Nurse, because Nurse is the one guy, and Jake Wallman. Those are the 2, I think, who need to play better.
Okay. I mean, all of that's true, but I'll tell you what, buddy. I've covered hockey here for a long time. Not only have I never seen, but I've never heard.
Never seen it either.
I've never heard of a coach who fires an assistant and then hires him back 60 games the next season. This isn't George Steinbrenner.
I was just going to say Billy Martin. How many? They did it like 5 times, right? 5 times.
This isn't that.
Yes. So it is odd. There's no question. So what do you like? If the head coach, because here's the thing, because I agree with you. And when we talk about outside noise, and I think successful teams, there has to be a small level of uncomfortableness, right? Like when the Oilers even won, like Esa Tikkanen could annoy his own teammates, right? They loved him on the ice, but he'd piss them off of the ice. So, it wasn't everybody was chummy all the time. So you need a little bit of it, but it can't be to your example of Vancouver or go overboard and that way. So there has to be a clear, if the players sense that the head coach and Paul Coffey are not on the same page, this ship is going down fast. So
what if the players sense, and remember, the players always know whatever we're talking about inside a hockey team, the players know.
Yeah.
So what if the players sense that the coach just got neutered, that the coach he made his choices for his staff and someone above him changed his mind? How's that work with the players talking to the coach now?
Yeah, well, it's fair, but here's the thing. What if the players recognize that you know, we need Coffey because he's better than Stewart. I'm not sure as much as the head coach here, Spec, as it is like Stewart's the one who got the clear demotion here. He's not running the bench anymore. He's running the penalty kill, but he's not running the bench. And so that's
he's not
the
running
one
the defense. He's not sending the defenseman out over the boards the way he was. Paul Coffey will do that now.
Yeah. And so I don't know, because Knobloch was never doing that anyway. Right. So, you know, but, you know, so they made the choice. I definitely think it's more Stewart here than it is anyone else. But at the same time, like Knobloch is definitely part of it. But Stewart's the one guy here that's probably not loving this situation.
Stewart's going to sit down in that next PK meeting, and you know that you've put Mark Stewart in a really tough spot. Now, I guess it's professional sports. Maybe the answer should be do a better job. You know, this is a team whose defensive game, whose defensemen have not had a great season as a group, right? This is a team that's, you know, the PK's in a hole it can't find its way out of. Defensively, and I know that their defensive game, obviously that involves forwards every bit as much as defensemen, but their defensive game hasn't been anywhere close to good enough. What are they, 27th ranked or something in the league right now in goals against? So, you know, one side of me says to Mark Stewart, you're not getting the job done. So, yeah, you get replaced. The other side of me is if you're going to replace the guy, replace him, but don't send him back in that room with half his job left and tell him to show some authority among the players, because the players are looking at him now going, buddy, you know, you're here for now. You're going to be here. How long till they replace the rest of your responsibilities?
Yeah, no, that's a fair question. Lastly, now Savoy got sent down yesterday. That's all for cap reasons, because Spec, they're so close to the cap that now they're actually not in LTIR. So even though Henrique's on LTIR, the Oilers aren't in LTIR. So they're actually accruing cap space for a week. And the amount that they accrue in a week allows them to go, because right now they do have enough cap space. They could call a guy up who makes league minimum. But in the week, they will earn cap savings so they can recall Matt Savoy next week. So that's why they've done that, if anybody's wondering. But today they sent down Regula on a conditioning stint. So he counts on the roster. He's on a conditioning stint, but he's going to get some playing time because the guy's barely played, right? And who knows, because he's got to play in case you get a defenseman injured. So this will allow him to get into some games here over the next 10 days, and then he'll come back up and we'll see where they go. But do you think Josh Szymanski, do you think they would consider a Janmark or a Mangiapane to the minors? Because Szymanski, keep in mind, Spec, now that when Szymanski gets called up, because they won't be an LTIR, then he's only back to being a 920 and 975K. So you could send down one of those other guys and bring him up, and it works.
Well, you know, the one thing about sending Savoy down for this thing to make cap space is like, I get it. And I you know, I'm not as keen on all the cap ramifications as you are, but I understand why it happens. And Stan Bowman would phone the agent, Jared Johansson, and explain and say, here, we're not doing this because of how he's playing. We're doing it because we've got to make some cash up, and he is not waiver eligible. So great. But the next time someone tells you it's a meritocracy, you got to shake your head at that a little bit, don't you? You know, Matt Savoy is not the last guy on the roster. If we're sending someone down to make up $1 million, you should probably send down a guy that has helped a lot less than Matt Savoy, right? I can think of a few players who have helped a lot less than Matt Savoy.
But he didn't need waivers. That's why he went down.
Well, sure. So does Frederick needs waivers? Anyone picking him up? Mangiapane needs waivers. Anyone picking him up? Hopefully. No one's picking up those two guys. And they're both not helping as much as Matt Savoy. So my point is this. That's fine. Do it the way you're doing it. But the next time I hear someone say it's a meritocracy around here, I'm going to say, yeah, no, it's not.
Oh, okay.
Fair?
Yeah. Well, I guess they, like Frederick, you say no one's claiming him, and you're probably right. But
oh my God, if someone could claim Frederick, are you kidding me? Yeah. Stan Bowman would go find Dr. Wang and spend the night at On the Rocks dancing his shoes off if someone claimed Frederick. Are you kidding me? Oh my God. No one's claiming Frederick.
No.
He wouldn't get claimed in 1,000 years.
Yeah.
So anyway.
I just think that there's a veteran thing. There's no waivers. There's lots of factors that go into that. Plus the other thing, Spec, though. No. Yeah, there is factors. Let me finish. To clear waivers would have had to wait another day. By the time he clears waivers, that extra day means they wouldn't have had enough cap space to recall the guy back. It wouldn't have saved them the money. That's why they do it for Savoy, because they needed the full 7 days, not 6. So that's why. Well, no, I'm just telling you, that's money. That's the reason why. That's how close it is to the cap. So that's why they did it. So not saying it's right or wrong. I agree with you on meritocracy, but there is some cap reasons why they would do it in this case. So
okay. And either way, they're going to California, and they'll probably pick somebody up while they're down there, whether it's Savoy. I don't know if Regula comes back.
Savoy will go up. Savoy will be back up by Wednesday for the game. Him and I think Henrique will be, they can activate him at any time because they're not in LTIR. So he'll be playing. And I think Matt Savoy will be recalled as well. So they can have a 22-man roster now with them. And then Regula, well, he's still on the roster anyway, but he could stay down and play an extra game or two if they want him to play. But he counts on the roster.
He's a 7th defenseman. He needs to play. He's a kid. Send him to Baco. Who cares? Here's the last. I'll let you go here. You started with the question. I don't think we've answered it. When all this comes out in the wash, when we're all said and done, and Josh Szymanski's sitting there, and you need to either put him on your roster in Edmonton, then you got to send somebody else down, or you could put Szymanski in Baco. What are you doing, and who are you sending down?
If it's me, I would actually recall Josh Szymanski and send Mangiapane.
Yeah.
No, that's what I would do. I think he's earned it.
Well, I mean, I kind of feel like I know what we've got in Mangiapane, particularly if, I guess I want to give Mangiapane and Frederick an opportunity to come out of this break and maybe use it as a springboard, just in case it happens, just in case they come out and have a couple good games and maybe it turns their season around. But if we're leaving San Jose next Saturday and neither of those guys have done anything more than they've been doing, I'm not sure I don't bring Szymanski with me and leave one of them behind in Baco.
Oh, so you'll give him a few games first?
I think so.
Oh, Mr.
I want them. If I'm Stan Bowman,
see all of a sudden, eh?
No. Szymanski hasn't done that much in Edmonton, frankly, but I think.
What do you mean? He had 2 points in 5 games, buddy. Playing 9 minutes a night, and by the way, not getting outscored 5-on-5.
There's that. I guess my point is, if I'm Stan Bowman, I really, really, really want Mangiapane to play better so I can trade him. And I really want Frederick to find some traction somehow, some way. And this break in the schedule may provide that. I got to at least give it a test run for 2-3 games and see if it happens. Come on.
Yeah. All right. We'll see. So you're saying I would have Szymanski here on Wednesday. You'd say you give those guys one last shot, and you probably could be right. We'll see.
I think I'd send Szymanski to Baco, and I'd be.
Well, he's already in Baco. He's already been sent down.
Yeah, I'd have him ready to pack his bags and fly with me up from San Jose next Saturday.
All right. Okay. Spec, have a good one.
All right. Sounds good, Jay.
It's Mark Spector, the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. We'll come back. We get to our stat of the day, new segment that we unveiled yesterday. Got a lot of good feedback on it. That and your thoughts. What would you do? Would you go would be with Gregor and have Szymanski here on the Wednesday, or are you like Spec, you give guys one final hurrah? What would you do? 833-401-1440.
Your furnace is dead. It's time to replace it before winter crushes you. Legacy Heating and Cooling is practically there already. Yeah, we're working in your basement, doing a replacement. The work is so earnestly building your legacy. With no payments and no interest for 1 year, you gotta call Legacy. Replacing your dying furnace before it's too late, that's how you build your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
A pizza from Papa John's is already pretty great, but you know what's even better? 2 pizzas from Papa John's. For a limited time, get a medium one-topping pizza for only $6 when you order any large specialty pizza at regular menu price. Whether you're feeding your family, your team, or yourself, get your next meal from your locally owned and operated Papa John's with a $6 one-top medium when you order any large specialty at regular menu price. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
At On the Rocks, the party never stops.
Check it out.
Mondays, bingo tune.
Tuesdays, tacos and tequila.
Wednesdays, it's wings and karaoke.
Shake what your mama gave ya with salsa lessons on Thursdays and the best live DJs.
Plus, live music every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, along with DJ Kenny K.
Hold on, let's not forget
$5 happy hour 7 days a week.
Your bar, your party. You're on the rocks.
On the rocks.
Jeff Brab and 118th.
Struggling to find skilled workers? What if you could fill your talent pipeline with motivated, pre-vetted youth and receive funding to support your efforts? At Careers The Next Generation, we connect Alberta employers with interns in skilled trades, IT, agriculture, forestry, and more. All WCB covered, high school accredited, safety trained, and ready to contribute from day one. With 83% of RAP students continuing their apprenticeships after high school, investing in youth today means securing your workforce for tomorrow. Don't wait. Visit careersnextgen.ca to get started.
Edmonton's only 24-hour-a-day sports radio station can be heard anytime, anywhere. Sports 1440 is streaming on your phone, your tablet, your computer. Download an app today and listen to Sports 1440.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fan. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Made for some rough roads, but it means trails are now packed and ready for action.
Don't miss out on riding adventures this winter with a Ski-Doo from Riverside Honda and Ski-Doo. Work or play with new 2026 Generation 5 models with class-leading design and power. And right now, take advantage of 5.99% financing OAC. Only at Riverside Honda and Ski-Doo. 15 Inglewood Drive in St. Albert. And always at riversidehonda.com. Shop local, shop Canadian.
1 in 3 adults don't get enough sleep. The Brick is here to help with deals on your entire bedroom. Save up to 50% off clearance mattresses, 50% off beds when you buy any 3 matching pieces. Buy one, get one half price on Sealy memory foam pillows, and save $100 off any adjustable power base when you buy a mattress over $9.99. Plus, check out other incredible savings in every department. Some exclusions apply. Check out the Brick at South Common, West Edmonton Mall, North Side, and downtown.
Need a new ride for road trips, errands, or just life on the go? Go Auto offers a massive selection with over 15,000 new and used vehicles to choose from. With over 70 locations across Western Canada, finding your next ride has never been easier. Whether it's a roomy SUV for the family, a sleek car for the open road, or a rugged truck for your weekend adventures, you'll find it here at a price you'll love. Explore thousands of vehicles today at goauto.ca.
McValue meals are here. Get the McD's you love for $5 plus tax every day with your choice of a McDouble, junior chicken, or chicken snack wrap with small fries and small fountain drink. All for just $5 plus taxes. Canadian restaurants. Product availability varies. Prices exclude delivery.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Did you know that Japa offers in-house and on-site service? Rain or shine, Japa Service Department is here for you. Get a quote now at japamachinery.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$536. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Saw one of your notes on X earlier today. I can't remember the handle of the person who wrote it, but it was like, unfortunately, my body doesn't know the difference between a Team Canada elimination game overtime and being chased by a bear. Fans get pretty nervous. You get pretty fired up. I'm sure it wasn't just the overtime, though. It was the whole third period. Like when Czechia scored to make it 3-2, you're just like, oh my God, what is this? Now, Oiler fans, you've obviously, maybe you're a little better at it because your team has been to the last 2 Stanley Cup finals, right? There's been some tough situations in games and you're like, okay, you know what? I can stay calm or maybe I never stay calm. I'm not really sure. So it's always interesting to see where it possibly could go. So either way, hope you enjoyed it. Get a good sleep. Back at it Friday morning, 8:40 a.m. I found out today that my son at his school, his teacher turned on the overtime and let the kids watch the overtime at school. Because I know many people, like I know my parents talk about 1972 and kids who were in school, they just talk about like that was a massive moment. Like it's a core memory that you have. And, for schools, something like this, like it won't be the gold medal game because that's on Sunday and people will be at home. But you know what? You sit with your friends in school and you're watching the game, especially when they win. Like imagine that, a bunch of grade sixers, Team Canada wins, are fired right up. Think about how you are in the office. Because I'm sure there's lots of people, whatever your office work was, there's probably not a lot of work being done, especially in the third period and overtime. For sure. There wouldn't be. And it's, it's fun. Just like if you have a friend who's when they're competing at the Winter Olympics, right? Like the difference with the sporting game is it lasts so long, right? Like you're in speed skating, you get locked in, you're watching them compete, but it's like, well, depending on the length of the race, it can be like 45 seconds. It can be a little bit longer in the 10K race, of course. But a lot of these events, like now, the big air, there's a few runs, so that stress kind of builds up. It goes up and down and up and down, right? Even figure skating, right? What's the long? It's like what, 4.5 minutes? Right? Like you watch other ones, but you're probably not that nervous because you just wait till your family or friend or someone you cheer for goes. So that's what's unique about the team sports, especially in hockey or if it's basketball or a soccer match. Like it extends over a long period of time, and your range of emotions in that time is wild. Like it would be interesting, and I'm sure some people have done it, to like the real diehard sports fans, and to watch what their heart rate would be during a game and how it fluctuates and goes up and down, right? Because you know who you are. Some of you are the pacer. You're walking around the room. Some of you are sitting there. You're just gritting your teeth. You say nothing. Some of you are like, get out of the room. I got to watch it by myself. Oh man, it would be like, it is funny to video people. And like, I don't like the people who just show the video of them celebrating. Like, oh, wow, you went crazy when the team scored. She's never thought that would be possible. It's more if you had someone, just the ebbs and flows of a full 60-minute game. Now, it would be a long film, so you probably get a little bored after a while, but that would be, I think, more realistic than, oh, we're filming our team. Look, we just scored the winning goal. Now we're on camera and everyone's going crazy. And you're like, shocking. Like, everybody did it. Your celebration is any different than anybody else's, really. So, we'll see. Now, anyway, let's get to our stats of the day, brought to you by All Star Construction, founded in 2009. They are in land development, power and gas installation contract. They do directional drilling, hydrovacing, and more. That is All Star Construction. And so the stat I wanted to get to today was kind of very specific. Well, it's a few of them, and it'll kind of transfer into a few different things. But the Oilers salary cap situation. And this is where you're a capologist. You got your computer out all the time. And so people yesterday were going, okay, Matt Savoy, why is he being sent to the minors? Well, he's sent to the minors because right now, today, the Oilers, you can now accrue what's called cap. They have cap space. So you send Savoy down. The Oilers aren't in LTIR anymore. Yes, Henrique is still on LTIR, but they're not in LTIR. They're not above the cap. The Oilers are actually under the cap the minute Savoy got sent down. And because he doesn't have to clear waivers, then he gets sent down. He's off the books immediately. And so for that day, now the Oilers accrue cap space, right? And it's amount that right now, today, they could call up a player who makes $775,000. They could call up that, maybe even more than that, but they could call up a player who makes minimum salary. But they couldn't recall Matt Savoy right now today if Henrique was on the roster. They couldn't do both, right? Because Matt Savoy makes a little bit more than that. But over a span of a week, Matt Savoy, they will be able to accrue that much cap space that by next Wednesday, they will have room to have both Henrique and Matt Savoy on the roster. So that's why he's being sent down. He does have to play one game, at least in the NHL. So I'm guessing that'll probably come on Friday, right? I don't think it's going to be Tuesday because they play Wednesday and Thursday. So that makes no sense. It would be the Friday game for Bakersfield. So that's when he'll play. And, to Speck's point, people wonder, well, why wouldn't they send down a veteran? Because the veteran would have had to wait 24 hours on waivers, then clear waivers, and that's when they'd start. And so that extra day wouldn't be enough cap space to accrue to call the guy back up, right? So that's the difference. It's kind of an odd thing, but that's just how it works. So you look at it for the order, and plus there is the veteran thing, and guys on, you're just a guy who has a no trade clause, like, if you have another option like you do in Matt Savoy, you're going to use that option. There's still the human element that you have to consider at times, right? You can make a tough decision, but it's like, we don't have to do that. We don't want to, because you know what, we can do it with a guy who doesn't have to clear waivers. We don't put anybody on waivers. There's no embarrassment if he doesn't get claimed, all those sorts of things, right? So there's that. Then it comes to the case of a guy like Josh Szymanski. Now, because the Oilers won't be in LTIR next Wednesday when they take Henrique, and they could actually take Henrique off. They could take him off Tuesday if they want to. It doesn't really matter because they're not in LTIR anymore. So they can activate him anytime they want now. And so when they do that, they wait, right? You put him on the roster. And because he's on the roster, now when Josh Szymanski, if they recall him, only his base salary counts. So Josh Szymanski goes back to being a $975,000 cap hit, not a 1.45, because when you're in LTIR, if you recall a player who wasn't on your opening day roster, then their bonuses, if they have any, count as part of their cap hit. So that's why he was, when he was first called up, they were in LTIR. He was a 1.4, but he's not now. So you could, in theory, mathematically, you could send Janmark down or Mangiapane, and it's $1.15 million in savings. Szymanski's less than that. So you could make that move stats-wise if you wanted to, if you're the Edmonton Oilers. So there's some numbers on that. The other stat today that I found rather interesting, of course, is Connor McDavid and his 11 points. So his 11 points now tie in the NHL era for most points in one Olympics. He's got 11. Ties Teemu Selanne. He's also now, think about this, Sidney Crosby has Canada's record for most points by a Canadian ever in the NHL era with 15. McDavid's already got 11. He could, in theory, because he's averaging over 2 points a game now, if they go to the bronze, they're going to play 2 more games automatically. Whether they win or lose on Friday, they're playing in the bronze medal game or they're playing in the gold medal game. He could be at 15 points by the end of this tournament. And depending on Crosby's health, he could leave the tournament tied with Crosby, which is wild in itself. And Macklin Celebrini, he tied Jerome McGinley today for most goals in one Olympic year with 5. McGinley had 5 in 7 games back in 2010. Celebrini needs 1 goal in his next 2 games to break that mark, which is a pretty impressive mark. And the last one I wanted to get you, just because some of you, we've been out of the NHL for a while, right? They haven't played games since the 5th of February, coming up 2 weeks tomorrow. And when they return a week today, the Oilers have 24 games left. Some teams have 26. Some actually have 27 games. The fewest games will be the Washington Capitals because they only have 23 games left. They played 53, which for them, they probably wish they had more games because they're in chase mode right now. They're out of the playoffs, currently 4 points back of the Islanders for that, and the Boston Bruins. And they have the Bruins have 2 games in hand on the Capitals. The Islanders would have 1 game in hand. But the stats I wanted to mention is Connor McDavid is 4 points away from another 100-point season for him. And unfortunately for McDavid, it would really be 10 consecutive years of 100 points, except for the COVID-shortened 2020 season, where he had 97 points. Then they closed down the season. He needed 3 points in the final 10 games that year. Otherwise, he would have been on a 10-game run. But even then, this is going to be his 6th consecutive season with 100 points. And that puts him into categories of Gretzky, Lemieux, Lafleur, Yzerman, guys who have done 6 consecutive years of 100 points. So that likely could happen as early as I guess technically next Wednesday. Could he get 4 points in a game? Yeah. But Wednesday, Thursday, or Saturday, McDavid is going to reach the century mark for the 6th consecutive time, 10th time, and the 9th time in his career would put him in 3rd place ahead of Marcel Dion. So some numbers to watch for 97. Even after his Olympic stats, which are pretty good, his NHL stats. Just a reminder, they're still really good. We'll take a final break, come back with the 2-minute warning on the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Performance by Action Electrical today. Their projects team kicks things off, designing and building with unmatched skill.
Then the service team swoops in for those crucial repairs and maintenance. And don't forget the testing team, ensuring everything's safe and sound before the solar team scores with sustainable energy.
A complete team effort. Have Action Electrical bring home a win for you and your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Need a new ride for road trips, errands, or just life on the go? Go Auto offers a massive selection with over 15,000 new and used vehicles to choose from. With over 70 locations across Western Canada, finding your next ride has never been easier. Whether it's a roomy SUV for the family, a sleek car for the open road, or a rugged truck for your weekend adventures, you'll find it here at a price you'll love. Explore thousands of vehicles today at goauto.ca.
McValue meals are here. Get the McD's you love for $5 plus tax every day with your choice of a McDouble, Junior Chicken, or Chicken Snack Wrap with small fries and small fountain drink. All for just $5 plus taxes. Canadian restaurants. Product availability varies. Prices exclude delivery.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Mr. Reuter gets a colonoscopy. All right, Mr. Reuter, just relax. We're almost finished.
Now, what am I looking at on the screen?
That's your large intestine.
Wow, the pipes of the human body. Incredible. This is just like when we use a camera for sewer inspection, except you probably don't find tree roots.
You'd be surprised what we find.
You know, once I found a bunch of Hot Wheels.
Hey, me too.
For a plumber who values healthy pipes, call Mr. Reuter.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love: better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's Aquasential reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade. Safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
Getting your vehicle sparkling clean doesn't have to cost a fortune. Take it into Hughes today and pay just loonies a wash.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
This jersey was worn by the legend himself, signed and everything.
You can't just wear it.
I'm framing it with expressions and images.
Your prized jersey deserves better than the closet. Think expressions and images. Your local custom framer since 91. You name it, we frame it.
1 in 3 adults don't get enough sleep. The Brick is here to help with deals on your entire bedroom. Save up to 50% off clearance mattresses, 50% off beds when you buy any 3 matching pieces. Buy one, get one half price on ceiling memory foam pillows, and save $100 off any adjustable power base when you buy a mattress over $9.99. Plus, check out other incredible savings in every department. Some exclusions apply. Check out The Brick in South Common, West Ed Mall, North Side, and downtown.
The longest running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Culligan for all your residential water needs. Your local water treatment company, more than just big bottles. Culligan.com.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
And we roll through. Of course, it's time now for the 2-minute warning, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, where the rates never change. No overtime charges. That's how you build a legacy at legacyheating.ca.
Paul Coffey's office, Edmonton Oilers dressing room, right in the middle of the 24 Stanley Cup Finals playoff run. Interviewed him for my Edmonton Sun column. The whole city is buzzing, right? You expect to hear about strategy, about matchups, about the pressure. But that's not what we talked about. Not for 35 minutes. The theme, the real current running under everything, was something else. The quiet confidence that settles in when you just know you belong there. That's the secret sauce, isn't it? It's not just about wanting to win, it's about expecting to and winning on sacred ground. That's the first thing that hit me when the Oilers press release dropped just before 11 this morning. It wasn't just a question answered, which has been whispered for a few months. It was a statement confirmed, a Hall of Fame level statement. Move over, Oilers coaches, because Paul Coffey, yes, that Paul Coffey, is stepping back behind the pine. After leaving the job he held for 2 years, the Hall of Famer is returning to run the back end. It's bold, it's big, and it's happening. Coffey talked about lifelong friends, about becoming heroes in a city few of them knew little or nothing about. He talked about how he loves coming back to that city. The city, of course, is Edmonton. And right now, the city's hockey club, they need a little help right now. Coffey can help. Is it any wonder he's back? And so do you. 95% of our Twitter poll said you were glad to see Coffey back. And as a 47-year-old friend and fan, so am I. 2-minute warning. Gregor, Haley, Kruger, Tate, Sports 1440.
We will see if the reuniting of the band works. Hey, tomorrow on the show, we'll have some fun talk about breakups that came back and worked well. Think of them in any walk of life. We'll discuss that on tomorrow's show. Also, a gold medal game, Canada and the U.S. Canada's the underdog for sure in that one. U.S., I don't even think they've given up a goal in the tournament. God, would it be great for them to beat them? But the way it's gone for a few months, I think that'd be a massive upset at this point. But it'd be awesome to see. We'll be watching that and a few other medal hopefuls tomorrow on the show. On behalf of Connor Hanley, Declan Kruger, Ritch Winter, and more. If you missed any part of the show, I highly recommend checking out the Mathieu Darche interview on YouTube or jasongregor.com or anywhere where you get your podcasts. Let's get to the con man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by eWell, your partner in power since 1976. EWEL.ca. Good night.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Over at the Winter Games, it was a good day for Canada. They get past Czechia 4-3 in overtime. Mitch Marner with the winner. Tough news, though. Sidney Crosby left the game in the second period. It did not return with a lower body injury. Other quarterfinal action at Finland beating Switzerland 3-2. Slovakia over Germany. The States got past Sweden 3-2 in overtime. With that, Canada will take on the Finns in the semis. Well, the States get Slovakia. Canada's Steve Duoc picked up a gold medal in the men's 500-meter short track. Canada also won bronze in the women's 3,000 speed skating relay. In curling, Rachel Homan's ring snuck past Italy 8-7, while the men beat Italy 8-3. And for the Edmonton Oilers, announcing Paul Coffey will return to the team's coaching staff behind the bench, joining the team on Friday. That's going to do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Up next, Fox Sports Radio. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.